Chapter 359. A wisp of anger surged up and filled his chest. He helped the Z clan find their lost treasure. As the Grand Elder of the Z clan, it was fine if he didn't thank him, but he even wanted to seize Su Yan's broken cauldron. Now, his true colors were revealed. Zitai's biggest goal was the Celestial Mountain. Su Yan came out alive from the demon fog. He definitely knew what was inside the demon fog. Even the Ancestral Hall was willing to pay a huge price to attack the demon fog forbidden zone. Zitai couldn't help but think that it might be related to the Celestial Mountain. If he could grasp the whereabouts of the Celestial Mountain, or even a method to pass through the demon fog, Zitai didn't even dare to think about this kind of fortune. Grand Elder, you've gone too far. Zi Xiaoning clenched her jade-like hands and said, Originally, Su Yan bringing back our clan's lost treasure is a great thing, but you've gone too far. You've got guts disobeying me time and time again, and now you dare to criticize me. Zitai was really angry. He took a big step forward and shouted, Zi Xiaoning, you've got guts. It seems like you've relied on your contributions to be so rude to me. If I don't teach you a lesson, what do you think the clan's rules are? Decorations. Rumble. Zitai was domineering. He was ready to suppress Zi Xiaoning and dig out the treasures on Su Yan's body. He was going to dig out the secret of the Celestial Mountain. Even if he only stretched out a palm, it was still filled with a terrifying divine aura. It was as if the heaven and earth were being split open. It was filled with a terrifying divine aura, and it suppressed Zi Xiaoning from all directions. Young miss. The black-robed man's expression changed greatly. His aura suddenly changed. It was as if a space beast was rushing over. He pushed forward with both hands, and a monstrous spatial fluctuation gushed out. It turned into a huge spatial palm and blocked Zitai's power. Oof. A junior like you dares to make a move against me? If I don't teach you a lesson, don't you know your identity? Zitai was very disdainful. The moment his palm collided with the black-robed man's power, the black-robed man seemed to have been struck by lightning. The spatial fluctuation released from his body was collapsing, and the seal he created was about to be torn apart. Ah! The black-robed man raised his head to the sky and let out a long roar. His entire body gushed out with even more boundless spatial energy, evolving one after another great divine ability after another. He wanted to stop Zitai. How dare you use your slave to bully his master? You must be tired of living. Song Yin, watch how I suppress you. Zitai's aura surged violently. His body's surface was overflowing with chaotic qi. His palm was blazing hot and could be called the palm of an ancient godly spirit. Layer by layer, he shattered the power of space. His entire palm was magnified infinitely in this narrow space. Song Yun. Zi Xiaoning's expression was extremely ugly. Old thing, if you dare to hurt him, I'll make you suffer. Zitai was even more furious. Tens of thousands of streams of qi gushed out from his palm, causing Song Yun to feel as if he had fallen into purgatory. That was an extremely terrifying primal chaos energy. It was as if there were tens of thousands of mountains lying in front of him, causing him to suffocate. Pooh! This palm landed solidly on Song Yun's back, causing him to cough up large mouthfuls of blood. His skin split open, and he was sent flying. Damn it! Song Yun's expression was ferocious. He crawled up in an instant and rushed forward to protect Zi Xiaoning. I think you've really reached the end of your life. Zitai's eyes flashed with killing intent. He stretched out his hand, and it was even more shocking than the last time. Chaotic killing intent was released. He had activated his killing intent and wanted to suppress the black-robed man and refine him to death. Buzz! It was also at this moment that Zi Xiaoning appeared in front of Zitai's palm. When the palm was about to touch her, her forehead emitted a resplendent, immortal radiance. There was an extremely terrifying imprint between her eyebrows. It was as if a sleeping divine king was about to tear the sky apart. Ancestor's imprint. Zitai quickly retracted his palm. His expression was ugly. He did not expect Zi Xiaoning to have the ancestor's imprint on her body. This imprint was not something that anyone could obtain. It seemed like the ancestor trusted Zi Xiaoning very much. Song Yun's expression was ugly. There was a trace of shame in his heart for not being able to protect Zi Xiaoning. Grand Supreme Elder, have you had enough? The ancestor's imprint between Zi Xiaoning's eyebrows could erupt at any time. She shouted coldly, "Stop it. I, Zi Xiaoning, am not an incompetent person. If you insist on doing this, I will not stand by and do nothing. When the time comes, things will get out of hand. I'll see how you're going to deal with this. I can tell you clearly that Su Yin is under my protection." Zi Xiaoning's attitude was tough. Her entire body was emitting a powerful aura. Although she did not have much combat strength, she was still a strong woman in the business world. "Xiaoning, the ancestor trusted you so much. Now you dare to obstruct me and harm the clan's interests again and again." Zitai was not afraid. Now that he was here, he was not afraid that Su Yin would escape. Even Zi Xiaoning could not stop him. Harm the clan's interests. Su Yin widened his eyes in anger. He pointed at Zitai and said angrily, "I, Su Yin, helped your clan find the relic, and you treat me like this. Do you still have conscience? Hee kid, you covet my clan's relic and still have the face to say this to me." Zitai said with a sinister tone, "I will give you one more chance. Hand over my clan's relic and tell me the secret of the devil mist. If you tell me the truth, I can pretend that I didn't see what happened just now. I will even give you a generous reward. Everyone will be happy. What do you think? What if I say no?" Su Yin wanted to see how shameless Zitai would be for the sake of the relic. Very simple. Zitai went silent for a moment. He smiled and said, "My clan's relic is with you. I can take it away directly. Moreover, I know that His Highness Daozu is looking for you. I will hand you over to the Ancestral Hall. What do you think? It is said that the Ancestral Hall is very cruel to the descendants of the burial region. Some children can even fall to their death, let alone you. I have seen shameless people, but I have never seen someone as shameless as you." Su Yin was extremely furious. His chest was heaving up and down violently as he said furiously, "Zitai, you are really ruthless. What enmity do I, Su Yin, have with you? How can you be so shameless to this extent? Kid, my patience is limited. Don't challenge my patience." Zitai sneered and said, "You only have two choices. Either you hand over my clan's relic and tell me the secret of the devil mist, or I will suppress you and hand you over to the Ancestral Hall. These two choices are not easy to choose. Young man, you are still young. You still have a lot of room for growth in the future. I will sponsor you with a sum of resources. Why not?" Zitai looked as though he was sure that he had Su Yin under control. He wasn't willing to hand Su Yin over to the Ancestral Hall. He also wanted to know what was inside the devil mist. "Ha ha ha." Su Yin looked up to the sky and laughed. When a person is greedy to the extreme, they can really do anything. You don't even blush when you say this. I really admire you. Young man, the world is very cruel. There are some things that don't belong to you. Zitai's malevolent face gradually revealed itself. He was too lazy to talk nonsense with Su Yin. His entire body was filled with murderous aura as he was ready to make his move. He didn't believe that Su Yin could withstand the torture and still not let go. "If I don't leave the Cosmos Business Alliance tomorrow, someone will make public the matter of your Cosmos Business Alliance's cheating and robbery." Su Yin replied helplessly. He didn't know how strong the Dragon Totem was and whether it could stop Zitai and help him break out of the encirclement. "What does it have to do with me?" Zitai smiled coldly. "Xiaoning, look at his character. He has already thought of you as a vile person. He actually left a backup plan. I don't think you can be merciful when dealing with such people. If it wasn't for you just now, do you think he could still stand here and talk unscathed? I would have killed him long ago. Grand Supreme Elder, I advise you to think about the consequences. Do you know where he came from?" Zi Xiaoning said indifferently. "If you provoke someone you shouldn't, I'll see how you explain it. Grand Supreme Elder, there are things that a man shouldn't do. You went against your conscience and did such a thing. Aren't you afraid of retribution?" Sun Yin didn't care about the elders. He was only responsible for protecting Zi Xiaoning. However, Zitai's actions now made him, who had always been upright, extremely angry. Suyin was just a small cultivator. However, Zitai actually wanted to dig out some secrets from him. Suyin even brought back the treasures that the Z family had painstakingly searched for. However, Zitai actually dared to say such things. This was really shameful. He couldn't stand it anymore. Don't think that with Z Xioning protecting you, I won't dare to kill you. Zitai's patience had reached its limit. The aura around his body became colder and colder. His killing intent surged. He said, "What background can he have? He's just a small disciple of the Big Dipper lineage. If I kill you, what can the Big Dipper lineage do to me?" Boom! Zitai was powerful and overbearing. His entire body soared up and looked down at Suyin. He wanted to suppress him and interrogate him. Rumble. In the distant Big Dipper lineage, in this bright and sacred archaic Tao field, a silver path suddenly stretched out. The Milky Way of the 9 heavens flowed down. The sun, moon, and stars lined up. The sacred aura covered the sky and earth. It was accompanied by grand chanting that resounded through the starry sky. The cultivators of Alcade City were stunned. They saw the silver path stretching to here and sitting in the sky above the Cosmos Business Alliance. It was a shadow, step by step, strolling over from a distant place. With each step, it was as if she was crossing a star system. The stars in the sky moved and flickered along with her, making her look like a celestial fairy. Touch a single finger of his and see what I can do to you. A strand of terrifying killing intent engulfed the entire Alcade City. Vast starlight descended from the sky. Following the spreading of anger, the sun, moon, and stars seemed to appear in the sky above Alcade City. For a moment, terror overflowed to the sky. Z Xioning crushed a jade tablet. She didn't think that it would really come. The entire secret chamber was trembling. A pair of eyes as bright as the stars directly looked over. Chapter 360. Who are you? Zitai's expression darkened. He was about to get his hands on the treasure, but he didn't expect someone to interfere. They even barged into the Cosmos Business Alliance and barged into their secret room. This shadow walked over with the 9 heavens of starlight accompanying her. She was exceptionally charming, and her body was flowing with moonlight. She had a kind of otherworldly and elegant beauty, like a goddess that walked out of a painting. Bamboo Moon. Suyin clenched his fist tightly, and his eyes were filled with surprise. He didn't expect Bamboo Moon to come out of seclusion at this time, and even come directly to the Cosmos Business Alliance. It seems like Bamboo Moon has a good relationship with him. Z Xioning let out a sigh of relief. She had a good relationship with Bamboo Moon. She didn't expect to crush the token that Bamboo Moon gave her to be useful. Z Xioning originally wanted to ask the Big Dipper lineage for help, but she didn't expect Bamboo Moon to come in person. I was wondering who it was. So it's the Big Dipper lineage's Star-Lord. Zitai was very arrogant and said with an arrogant tone, "Big Dipper Star-Lord, you are quite bold. You even dare to barge into my Cosmos Business Alliance. You are so rude. Even if your Big Dipper lineage's old ancestor came out, he wouldn't dare to barge into my Cosmos Business Alliance." Bamboo Moon was graceful and elegant, and she had a beauty that could captivate birds and beasts. She didn't even look at Zitai, and her bright eyes landed on Suyin. Her gentle and beautiful face surged with a smile that could topple a city. Her elegance was peerless. "You are here." Bamboo Moon smiled at Suyin. "That is really surprising. How long have you been here? Why didn't you come to the sect to look for me?" Suyin looked at Bamboo Moon. He had a lot to say, but he didn't know where to start. He smiled and said, "I was delayed by something. It's not too late." Z Xioning was surprised. She looked at the two of them and felt a little strange. What was their relationship? In the past, because Shueguan coveted Su Yan scriptures, when the Shui family wanted to deal with Su Yin, Bamboo Moon personally came out to resolve the grudge between Su Yin and Su Yin. Song Yun was also stunned. Wasn't Su Yin a disciple of the Big Dipper faction? Could it be fake? Perhaps there was some other relationship between them. "Isn't it too late?" Bamboo Moon said in a reproachful tone. She had just come out of seclusion and noticed the token that Z Xioning had crushed. When she rushed over, she happened to see this scene. A wisp of coldness welled up in her heart. Oomph, Lord of the Big Dipper. Zitai was furious. He pointed at her and shouted angrily, "You are so arrogant. I was talking to you just now. Didn't you hear me? Let me tell you the truth. Your sex, Su Yin, stole the treasure of my Cosmos Business Alliance. If you don't want my Z family to vent our anger on your Big Dipper faction, you better let Su Yin explain the matter clearly." "Do I need to explain it to you?" Bamboo Moon's temperament was graceful and elegant, but her words revealed a trace of coldness. "If your Z family wants to start a war with my Big Dipper faction, ask your clan's patriarch to come personally. Who do you think you are? How dare you say this to me? Bastard!" Zitai was furious. His figure instantly blurred. When he reappeared, he was already in front of Su Yin. He raised his hand and grabbed at him. No matter what, he wouldn't let Su Yin leave easily. It would be best if he could capture him alive and bring him back to the clan for interrogation. Even if the Big Dipper faction came to ask for him, when the day came, the secret might have been unearthed. Su Yin was useless to him. That terrifying aura leaked out and covered the sky as it started to devour Su Yin. It was just a wisp of stellar transposition power. Zitai came faster. This wisp of power wrapped around Su Yin and made him disappear under Zitai's palm in an instant. "You were just a junior. How dare you block my way?" Zitai's eyes widened in anger. When he looked at Bamboo Moon, he realized that Bamboo Moon had already appeared in front of him. However, at this moment, Bamboo Moon was extremely terrifying. It was as if there were countless stars in the universe falling here. For a moment, the entire secret room was filled with terrifying fluctuations. It was filled with the sun, moon, and stars. That was a shadow. It came from afar, pushing the sun, moon, and stars. Its aura was boundless and terrifying. Su Yin was shocked. The current Bamboo Moon was too terrifying. She was like a god, full of unparalleled combat power. "Old thing, how dare you target my sex disciple in front of me?" A slender, jade-like hand stretched out. The moment it struck, the sun, moon, and stars rumbled. That terrifying power was hard to resist. This palm was like pulling down the 9 heavenly stars. The fluctuations it emitted were too powerful. Everything happened too quickly. Zitai didn't even have time to react. He was slapped by Bamboo Moon on his old face. Half of his face was sunken in, and he spat out a few teeth. He fell to the ground fiercely. "She has broken through." Song Yin gasped. How old was Bamboo Moon now? She actually stepped into this domain and became a pinnacle expert in the universe. Could it be that the Big Dipper faction was going to rise with her? Zitai's hair was disheveled, and half of his face was badly mutilated. He let out a hysterical roar like a wild beast. Every roar was accompanied by chaotic airflow. If it wasn't for Bamboo Moon suppressing the entire secret chamber, this secret chamber would have collapsed. Under Zitai's furious roar, Alcade City would be bathed in blood. After all, he wasn't an ordinary person. He could be called a god. This slap made Zitai's heart burn with anger. He was about to explode. He was the dignified grand elder of the Z family. Now, he was actually slapped by a junior. If this spread out, how could he face others? "I'll kill you, you bitch." Before Zitai could finish his words, Bamboo Moon's aura suddenly became terrifying again. The heaven and earth trembled, and the space sank. The endless stars in the hall were rumbling as they revolved. It made her look like the lord of the starry sky, suppressing the universe. Zitai was naturally powerful. He had already started to comprehend the chaos. Chaotic killing light burst out from his body and turned into ancient chaos sword essence. He wanted to slash Bamboo Moon to death. However, under Bamboo Moon's fury, she had the peerless elegance of a sect master. The heaven and earth dimmed. It was as if an ancient god had crossed the starry sky and came here. Her entire body was releasing a brilliant light that overflowed the sky. Boom! Her slender, jade-like hand lifted up again. Her aura destroyed everything. All kinds of chaotic killing, swords that were slashing towards Zitai exploded. Her palm pressed down directly. An unimaginable force pressed down, causing Z-Tai's body and mind to break apart. He suddenly became alert. His aura soared into the absolute domain. One had to admit that he was very powerful. After being temporarily suppressed by Bamboo Moon, he could still quickly awaken and spurt out chaos. Oomph. Bamboo Moon coldly snorted. Her jade-like hand pressed down. She was too terrifying. It was as if she could pluck the stars and capture the moon. She pressed down layer after layer, causing the layers of chaos to begin to unseal. Bastard, Lord of the Big Dipper, think carefully about what you want to do. Do you want to become enemies with my Z-Clan? Z-Tai was a little frightened. Bamboo Moon's battle prowess was beyond his expectations. He couldn't block Bamboo Moon's methods at all. You think you are qualified to represent the Z-Clan? Bamboo Moon stood in the void. She was peerless and had unparalleled beauty. She coldly said, "Even if the patriarch of your Z-Clan is here, you are not qualified to say such words. You dare to be impudent in front of me? Don't you know where you are? What do you think my Big Dipper lineage is?" Boom! A huge explosion occurred here. Bamboo Moon's palm was emitting flames of fury. With a fierce press, this area was constantly destroyed. PFFF. Z-Tai spat out a big mouthful of blood. His flesh was cracked by Bamboo Moon's palm. He let out a mournful voice. "Lord of the Big Dipper, are you declaring war on my Z-Clan? You humiliate me like this. Aren't you afraid that the Big Dipper lineage will be ruined in your hands? Your Big Dipper lineage has already weakened to this extent. What qualifications do you have to target me?" Bamboo Moon stood in the void without moving, but her palm swept over once again. It was infinitely terrifying. It seemed to have traversed the vast, starry sky, approaching from afar. The radiance that gushed out made the space of the entire secret chamber seem to be grasped in the palm of her hand. "If I kill you, will your Z-Clan dare to declare war on my Big Dipper lineage?" Bamboo Moon snorted coldly. She slapped Z-Tai's face again. The other side of his face caved in as well. He spat out 7 or 8 teeth. His face was badly mutilated. He fell to the ground fiercely. "Let me go if you have the ability. I want to see if you still have the courage to say such words when the time comes. Lord of the Big Dipper, I advise you not to make a mistake. I will tell you clearly now. Su Yin stole my clan's treasure." As soon as Z-Tai's words fell, he let out a wail like a pig being slaughtered. The vast universe, stars were revolving in the sky. It looked like a field of star sand, but in fact, each of them was extremely majestic. They emitted an extremely terrifying aura and suppressed Z-Tai's body. "Old thing, you're already so old. You still have the face to shout here when you're targeting my disciples. Do you really think that I don't dare to kill you?" As this small starry sea revolved, all kinds of terrifying radiance shot down. It was as if the star-killing sword was slashing here. It made Z-Tai let out a heart-wrenching cry. There was a trace of fear in his heart as he felt the killing intent. "Lord of the Big Dipper, have mercy." The sixth elder's expression changed drastically. He said in a panic, "Let's talk nicely. Elder Z-Tai is also in a hurry." "In a hurry? If Su Yin really stole your Z-Clan's treasure, why would you send such an old thing over? Do you really think that our Big Dipper lineage has no one?" A trace of coldness flashed in Bamboo Moon's eyes. This condensed starry sea blazed once again. The terrifying fluctuations that spread out made Z-Tai scream. His entire body was badly mutilated. He let out a painful tremble. His internal organs were ruptured. He had suffered serious internal injuries. Z-Tai didn't dare to say another word. He was really afraid that Bamboo Moon would severely damage his vitality and shorten his lifespan. Lord of the Stars, at this moment, a storm was brewing in Alcade City. Because Bamboo Moon came out of seclusion, and even the Cosmos Business Alliance that suddenly attacked Alcade City, it affected the nerves of all the major forces. Lords of various races frequently came to Alcade City. However, when the heroes gathered and arrived at the Cosmos Business Alliance, they were all stunned when they saw the scene in the secret chamber. That was Z-Tai, but he was taught a lesson by Bamboo Moon. He didn't even dare to raise his head. Su Yin. Chapter 361. The Alcade Hall master gnashed his teeth in hatred. After all, the great child Alcade had been suppressed by Su Yin and hadn't been released. Since Su Yin had run into the demonic mist, the great child Alcade wouldn't be able to survive. Sure enough, the great child Alcade's origin spirit lamp was extinguished soon after. The Phoenix hairpin's space couldn't block the demonic mist after all. Su Yin didn't think much of it. So what if he died? But now, experts from various races had come to the Cosmos Business Alliance and recognized him. Big trouble. Su Yin clenched his fists. He had originally planned to quietly hand the item over to Zi Xioning and then leave. But now he had been completely exposed. If he delayed for too long, there might be ancestor-level existences from the Ancestral Hall coming to kill him. What is the Alcade Hall master talking about? Su Yin? The entire brilliant city fell silent. It was so quiet that even a pin drop could be heard clearly. The person who had stirred up a storm in the Big Dipper half a year ago had killed Kong Yuan, the young overlord of the Ancestral Hall's 10 great knights, Su Yin. He had fallen into the demonic mist and was already considered a dead man. But half a year later, he had actually come out alive and was even in the Cosmos Business Alliance. The various major powers were doubting their lives. How could such a thing happen? How could Su Yin escape from the demonic mist and even be in the Cosmos Business Alliance safe and sound? It's really him. The crowd opened their heavenly eyes and looked at the youth in the secret chamber. Some people had seen through Su Yin's true identity and were so shocked that their jaws almost dropped. How could Su Yin still be alive? Wasn't he buried in the demonic mist? One had to know that His Highness Daozu had paid a great price and still couldn't open the demonic mist. So how could Su Yin come out alive? Unbelievable. He has returned. They were all alarmed, and some of the older generation's eyes were burning. What was hidden in the demonic mist? It was worth the Ancestral Hall paying such a great price. It was rumored that there was an immortal mountain in the Big Dipper. Some people couldn't help but think about it. Alcade City was in an uproar. Everyone was talking about how the young Overlord Su Yin, who had died half a year ago, had come out alive from the demonic mist. Just this matter alone was shocking enough. It wouldn't take long for this news to spread to dozens of nearby star domains. What did you say? Su Yin is still alive. When the members of the Shui family received the news, they looked as though they had just eaten a pile of **T. Their faces were extremely ugly. Back then, in order to kill Su Yin, the Shui family head and the other 4 had died in his hands. Those 4 were quasi-Dao state cultivators. Because of Su Yin, half of the Shui family's sky had collapsed. More than half of the younger generation had been killed. A disciple shouted angrily. The entire Alcade City was already filled with news. All kinds of news were being spread out in a grandiose manner. It would definitely sweep through the entire Big Dipper Star region at an extremely fast speed. A young overlord who had fallen had come out alive and had even killed his way out of the demonic mist. This was very significant. Who knew what he had obtained inside? Zi Xioning smiled bitterly. Bamboo Moon didn't know how big of a problem Su Yin was in. Now, once the news of him coming out alive from the demonic mist was spread out, it would be big trouble. The Ancestral Hall wouldn't let this matter go. Bamboo Moon was also slightly startled. How could Su Yin be so famous now? Even the overlords of the universe knew about it. Could it be that something big had happened while she was in seclusion? Bamboo Moon, I want to leave this place. Su Yin transmitted, I am in big trouble. I need to leave. Send me away. How big of a trouble can you cause? Bamboo Moon frowned. She was very clear about Su Yin's background. He was just a newly awakened life ancient star. Even if he caused some trouble, wouldn't the Big Dipper bloodline be able to protect him? What did you say? Bamboo Moon's eyes shrank. She transmitted, you are related to the Burial Region bloodline? Immortal Jades? Su Yin didn't expect Bamboo Moon to know that he had immortal jades. These things were enough to make the Ancestral Hall go crazy. But when Bamboo Moon left without saying goodbye, she didn't take the immortal jades with her. Bamboo Moon also thought of many things. Her breathtakingly beautiful face slowly turned solemn. If Su Yin was really an important character of the Burial Region bloodline, then this was too big of a problem. The Big Dipper bloodline might not be able to withstand the pressure from the various forces of the ancestral hall. After all, the burial region bloodline had been targeted by some peak forces. They couldn't possibly see a rising star from the burial region bloodline showing signs of rising. Could it be that life, ancient star? Bamboo Moon knew many things. A trace of surprise flashed in her eyes. She thought that the life, ancient star, Su Yin, came from might not be as simple as it seemed on the surface. Hurry up and leave. Don't hesitate. You can't protect him, Zi Xioning said in a low voice. When the ancestral hall sends people, we will be in big trouble. Su Yin, if you don't hand over my clan's inheritance, you can't leave. Zitai gasped for breath and said in a shrill voice, That's my clan's inheritance. Su Yin, I can let bygones be bygones, but you must hand over my clan's inheritance. Get out of my way. Bamboo Moon's mind was restless, but Zitai's words enraged her. She kicked Zitai, causing him to scream in pain. Half of his body was stomped to pieces. He was like a dead dog as he crashed into the wall. Grand Elder. The sixth elder was so scared that he shivered. He quickly ran over. Let's go. The sect has a domain crossing array. Bamboo Moon had made her decision. The Big Dipper bloodline had an old ancestor overseeing it, but Su Yan's status was enough to make the ancestral hall go to war. The Big Dipper bloodline couldn't withstand the pressure from the outside world. At that time, it wouldn't be easy for Su Yin to leave. Su Yin, that little bastard, you actually came out alive. Huh, the heavens are helping me. A cold voice suddenly exploded in Brilliant City. A blood-robed man with a powerful aura crossed the starry skies. He carried a war spear, and his killing intent was boundless. The massive Brilliance City trembled. The aura from the outer realm was extremely shocking. Zhu Jingtian had arrived. He had crossed the starry skies and arrived in Brilliant City. He was like a blood-colored demon god. His expression was cruel and cold, but he was pleasantly surprised. Their goal was to capture Su Yin, not open the Devil Fog Forbidden Zone. Now that he received news that Su Yin was still alive, Zhu Jingtian threw his head back and roared with laughter. The heavens are helping me. I thought I would return empty-handed. Who would have thought? Ha, Su Yin. Oh, Su Yin, you've really given me a great surprise. Zhu Jingtian is here. Back then, Su Yin was forced into the Devil Fog Forbidden Zone by Zhu Jingtian. Who would have thought that he'd come again? Su Yin is really unlucky. Yeah, he's been blocked by Zhu Jingtian twice in a row. I wonder who will be able to protect Su Yin this time. A storm gathered in Brilliant City. All the mighty rulers looked at Zhu Jingtian. Half a year ago, he was severely injured and almost killed by Star Element with the Divine King's weapon. But now, Zhu Jingtian was here again. The war spear in his hand shone brightly. The brilliant light of the great Tao burned, illuminating heaven and earth. It was as if a huge mountain was lying here. The waves it emitted caused the mighty rulers of the older generation to feel a chill down their spines. Zhu Jingtian definitely had the battle prowess of a top-notch mighty ruler. As an expert at the peak of the great Tao realm and very young, he was also an important member of the Ancestral Hall. He was an expert who would wield great power in the future. Buzz. His eyes widened, shooting out the light of the great Tao. His gaze pierced through the layers of space and landed in the Cosmos Business Alliance. When Zhu Jingtian confirmed that it was Su Yin, a cold expression appeared on his face. He said, Last time, you were lucky enough to escape. I'd like to see where you can run to this time. You still ended up in my hands. Who are you? Bamboo Moon was exceptionally charming. She wore a long silver robe and stood tall between heaven and earth. She said coldly, You dare to act recklessly in my Big Dipper Star region and even target the disciples of my sect? How dare you? This is not the place for you to behave atrociously. Hearing this, Zhu Jingtian's gaze landed on Bamboo Moon. When he saw this graceful and noble woman, his heart skipped a beat. He laughed wantonly and said, So it's Fairy Big Dipper. Beauty, don't be anxious. After I suppress Su Yin, we'll have a good chat about love and life. This sentence caused a huge commotion. Many experts who admired Fairy Big Dipper were enraged. Bamboo Moon was the Star Lord of the Big Dipper star region. She was a goddess that couldn't be profaned in their hearts. Now that Zhu Jingtian was humiliating Bamboo Moon like this, some people couldn't stand it anymore. However, they didn't dare to say anything. Since the Star Lord is here, there's no need to be anxious. Star Element and the others had also arrived. They heaved a sigh of relief. Suyin had indeed come out alive. When Bamboo Moon came out of seclusion from the Big Dipper star region, Star Element and the others had already sensed her current strength. How could Zhu Jingtian be a match for Bamboo Moon? Boom! Zhu Jingtian didn't hesitate and instantly recovered. His entire body was suffused with blood-red light that descended from the sky and filled the entire firmament. He was extremely conceited and domineering. Even if the Star Lord of the Big Dipper was standing here, and Su Yin was a genius of the Big Dipper star region, Zhu Jingtian didn't fear anything. This was the Ancestral Hall, a famous overlord of the universe and a peak power. Boom! The whole of Alcade City shook and rumbled. Boundless killing intent rippled out. The spear in his hand glowed and rapidly enlarged. Heavenly scars of the great Tao curled around it like a giant mountain range in the sky. He rushed over, his body exuding a suffocating aura. The spear in his hand had already locked on his Su Yin, preventing him from escaping. You're really arrogant. You want to capture my disciple right in front of me. Bamboo Moon was like a silver moon. The stars in the sky were brilliant and dazzling, and they seemed to be revolving around her. Thousands of strands of silver divine light had already descended, and it was as if the vast starry sky was descending with her. For a moment, she was peerless in her generation, and her beauty reigned supreme in the starry sky. What can you do to me? If we were in the outer star fields, you'd be nothing but prey in my eyes. Zhu Jingtian's words were tyrannical. He had already charged forward, squeezing Brilliant City until it was pitch black like ink. Everything was about to be destroyed. His battle spear had already been brandished, wanting to break Su Yan's legs. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. A cold glint flashed in Bamboo Moon's eyes. Her beautiful black hair fluttered in the wind. At this moment, she was like a goddess of the starry sky. The Milky Way from the 9 heavens sprinkled down, and the pervasive energy ripples were boundless and terrifying. At this moment, the whole of Alcade City seemed to have disappeared, covered by a jade-like palm. This was an extremely terrifying technique. The vast starry sky was overturned and transformed into a palm. Boom! The huge palm covered the sky, and the sun, moon, and stars revolved in the palm as it furiously slammed toward Zhu Jingtian. Everyone turned pale. This technique was quite heaven-defying and domineering. They saw that Zhu Jingtian looked small in front of this palm. No matter how hard he struggled, he couldn't break free from the giant palm formed by the starry sky. It's just a minor technique, the starry sky palm, but in the hands of Fairy Bamboo Moon, it's like a heavenly secret technique. This is what it means to be strong. Chapter 362. A thunderous roar resounded throughout Brilliant City as the giant palm slammed down on the ground. The sound was so intense that the eardrums of the surrounding people were about to burst. Some even fell to the ground. Smoke and dust filled the sky. The giant palm was like a 5-fingered mountain pressing down on the area. Strange phenomena appeared one after another. All sorts of great stars in the universe appeared, and the power of the galaxy flowed. All sorts of destructive light gushed out, and a world-shaking might that could shatter the heavens and split the seas howled out. The entire Brilliant City was silent. The rulers of the various races were dumbstruck. Some of the younger ones were especially dumbfounded. What was going on? Zhu Jingtian, who had charged over in an imposing manner and had even claimed to be his prey, had been slapped to the ground by Bamboo Moon. It was as if a cold wind had swept over, causing the silent, Brilliant City to be in an uproar. The Brilliance Palace Master and the others all smiled bitterly. Bamboo Moon had broken through. It was definitely because Su Yin had brought back the Big Dipper scripture that Bamboo Moon had stepped into a brand new realm. She was now looking down on the world. How is this possible? Some people were shouting and roaring. Most of them were from the Shui family. What kind of terrifying method was this? Zhu Jingtian had been slapped to the ground by Bamboo Moon. It was as if she had slapped an ant to death. It was so easy and casual. They couldn't believe their eyes. How old was Bamboo Moon? Now that she had stepped into this realm, could it be that the Big Dipper lineage was about to flourish? If that was the case, then the Shui family's future dominance over the Big Dipper star field might not exist. Star Master. The elders of the Big Dipper lineage who had rushed over all shouted excitedly. The shocking slap was like an alarm bell, causing the various powers to gasp. They all looked toward the peerless fairy Big Dipper. She was truly terrifying. She had already risen to become a pinnacle powerhouse in the universe. She could even be called a god. A miserable howl exploded. It was a heart-wrenching sound that reverberated throughout Brilliant City. It was hair-raising. Zhu Jingtian was a pinnacle ruler of the universe, but now he had been suppressed by Bamboo Moon with a single slap. When the giant hand dissipated and turned into starlight, a tragic figure was revealed. The bones in his body were broken, and his flesh was torn apart. His appearance was as miserable as it could be. It was completely different from the domineering appearance he had before. Zhu Jingtian glared at Zhu Yu and let out a beast-like roar. He was enraged to the extreme. He had almost been slapped to death by a woman. However, when the giant hand reassembled itself and appeared above Zhu Jingtian, it was as if it had been struck by lightning. Zhu Jingtian trembled. He no longer had the strength to resist. There was a trace of fear in his eyes because he could feel the killing intent. This made Zhu Jingtian furious. Lord of the Big Dipper, if you kill me, the Ancestral Hall will definitely flatten the entire Big Dipper clan and wash the Big Dipper constellation with blood. The giant hand came down on Zhu Jingtian. He was terrified. He didn't know where he got the strength from, but he crawled to his feet and fled. Under the shocked gazes of the onlookers, the huge hand flicked its finger, sending out silver ripples that swept over Zhu Jingtian like a tidal wave from the highest heavens. "Oh my God!" someone exclaimed. Zhu Jingtian was sent flying by Bamboo Moon's finger. Some universe rulers saw Zhu Jingtian being sent flying into outer space. It was as if he had been exiled into the universe. They could feel the power of stellar transposition. "Killing you will only dirty my hands." Her cold voice reverberated throughout the area, causing the rulers of the various races to gasp. This was too ruthless. Zhu Yu had chosen not to kill Zhu Jingtian, but to banish him to the cosmos. However, there was no way Zhu Jingtian could come back alive. His injuries were too severe. Zhu Jingtian couldn't withstand the power of the finger flick. Being exiled to the depths of the universe and waiting for death was more painful and despairing than death. Star Master is so domineering. Outsiders only know that Fairy 7 Star is the most beautiful person in the universe, but they don't know that she suppressed the 7 Hall Masters back then. Half a year ago, he had wanted to kill Zhu Jingtian, but in the end, a large number of powerhouses had come to the Ancestral Hall, leaving him with no choice but to watch helplessly. Now, Zhu Yu's strong move had stirred up many of the senior elders of the Big Dipper lineage. "Let's go." Bamboo Moon seemed to have sensed something. She wanted to take Su Yin away and head for the Big Dipper lineage. The entire Brilliant City was permeated with a suffocating air current, as if a cold wind was blowing. Even the entire Grand Middle Territory was emitting a thunderous sound, as if a terrifying existence was taking a step forward in the far distance. Every syllable was like a clap of thunder from the 9 heavens. That person had already appeared a little. He was very blurry, as if he was still in another star domain. However, with each step he took, a terrifying wave surged toward him. Honglong, the entire Alcade City was about to collapse. Every inch of the void was wailing. Everything was about to turn into ashes. Large swathes of life exploded. This person was too tyrannical and had already charged over. His body was as deep as the sea, and his essence blood flooded the sky. It was accompanied by dense, primal chaos fluctuations that blotted out the sky. It could be said that this was the end of the universe. The entire Grand Middle Territory was about to be overturned. Bastard! Bamboo Moon's eyes released a murderous glint. With a swing of her sleeve, the heavenly winds blew and endless starlight sprinkled down from the cosmos. It formed a giant seal that suppressed the trembling Grand Middle Territory and stabilized Alcade City. Those who were about to be shaken to death roared in grief and indignation. They had almost died. This person was too tyrannical. If Fairy 7-Star hadn't taken action, Alcade City would have been filled with millions of corpses. Buzz. At the end of the horizon, a majestic figure filled the world. He wore a golden robe, and his eyes were burning with golden flames. Although this person was old, his aura was quite astonishing. It was as if he was an immortal furnace standing at the end of the horizon. Zhu Liang. Zi Xioning's expression sank. She said in a low voice, "Be careful. This person's battle prowess isn't weak." Zhu Yi was too young right now. If she had a dozen more years, it would be hard to say. However, Zhu Liang was an old monster with a lifespan of 6,000 years. He was so powerful that it was suffocating. Hand him over to me, and I'll pretend I didn't see what happened just now. Zhu Liang spoke. His voice was like thunder that resounded through the entire Alcade City. It contained a great pressure that made the hearts of all the cultivators present stifled. It was as if a giant mountain was pressing down on their hearts. "You've crossed the line. This is not your ancestral palace's territory," Zhu Yi replied. Her aura climbed steadily, causing everyone present to tremble. It was as if they were looking at a goddess of war in the starry skies, suppressing the universe. She emitted the most dazzling brilliance, pushing away Zhu Liang's aura. "Hee, I've already given you face. Since you don't want it, don't blame me for being ruthless." Zhu Liang's voice contained an iron-blooded killing intent. He would not show mercy to the remnants of the Burial Realm's bloodline. Boom! The entire world shook and rumbled as if countless bolts of lightning were striking down, causing the entire Grand Middle Territory to tremble. His aura was truly terrifying. He indifferently spoke to Su Yin. "Number 5, there were 5 who escaped back then. After capturing you, there are only 4 left. Since number 5 has been found, the others won't be far away." This voice was like a knife that ruthlessly stabbed into Su Yan's heart. Zhu Liang was showing off his contributions. Su Yin was his prey. No matter what resistance there was, nothing could stop Zhu Liang's determination to capture Su Yin. After all, this was something the ancient ancestor wanted. It was too important to the ancestral palace. Of course, he didn't know what it was. Old bastard. Su Yan's blood boiled as his black hair danced in the wind. He furiously shouted, "Sooner or later, I'll skin you alive." "Haha, young man, I admire your courage to say such words in front of me. Unfortunately, in my eyes, it's just stupid words. Having such a strong will to fight is not a good thing." Zhu Liang faced the sky and laughed, shaking the firmament. "If you can leave this place alive, then don't say such useless words." The vast territory trembled as Zhu Liang's killing intent surged and sealed the entire Grand Middle Territory. He sneered, "Big Dipper Fairy, don't show off your meager skills in front of me. You want to use stellar transposition to send Su Yin away? Do you think that's possible? You want to take Su Yin away in front of my eyes? Do you think that's possible?" Bamboo Moon's aura became more and more shocking. She was like a goddess of the stars. She had a peerless elegance that intimidated the universe. It seemed that her aura could shake the entire Big Dipper Star region. The Golden Dragon King and the others were very surprised. What kind of enmity did Su Yin have with the Ancestral Palace? "I'll give you another warning. Don't cause trouble for the Big Dipper bloodline," Zhu Liang coldly said. "Otherwise, you won't be able to bear the consequences. Don't waste your breath." Bamboo Moon's aura became infinitely terrifying. Her aura was simply too shocking. The heavens fell and the earth sank. Even the primal chaos collapsed. Countless stars in the universe fell from the sky. It was as if millions of stars were arranged in the Grand Middle Territory. Bamboo Moon erupted. She rushed from afar and pushed the power of the stars to kill Zhu Liang. I also want to see if the Big Dipper bloodline has made any progress in these years. Zhu Yang released his aura and tore through the starry sky. His golden robe fluttered in the wind. He let out a loud roar that shattered the sky. The endless stars in the universe that rushed towards him exploded. He was like an invincible divine king. He could evaporate the ocean and capture the sun. This was a terrifying collision. It was as if two worlds had collided here. Destructive light rushed into the sky. This was a battle between gods. It was as if two gods were fighting here. All kinds of destructive light flared up. The entire Grand Middle Territory seemed to be on the verge of sinking. Kill! Zhu Yang roared again. He didn't want to waste time and was worried about other unforeseen events. He was too powerful. A giant lion head appeared behind him. It was surrounded by chaotic light and spat out waves of golden ripples that engulfed the heavens and earth. The roar shattered the stars in the sky. He reached out a palm and chopped towards Bamboo Moon. However, this palm seemed to have struck an eternal and immortal time-space. The sound of scriptures appeared. It was grand and distant. It resounded through Alcade Planet and spread throughout the starry sky. For a moment, the great Tao in this starry sky was revived. Bamboo Moon was like the incarnation of the great Tao. Immortal chants were transmitted from her body. She actually drew upon the ancient source power of the Big Dipper star region, causing her aura to rise sharply. She seemed to be standing in an eternal starry sky. Her body was faintly discernible. Sometimes she would turn into the most powerful ancient star that could crush the universe. Big Dipper scripture. Zhu Yang's eyes immediately turned cold. Bamboo Moon cultivated the Big Dipper scripture. Her battle prowess was extraordinary. At this moment, she was like a goddess of the Big Dipper star region looking down at the starry sky. You are still not enough. Chapter 363. The divine light was like an ocean as it surged and rushed into the sky, illuminating the starry sky in a dazzling manner. The battle in the Big Dipper star region was too shocking. The surrounding star regions all sensed it, especially the heavenly mystic sect. They immediately used a secret space-time treasure to penetrate the star regions. When they saw Zhu Yu standing on Alcade Planet, their faces paled. The Lord of Big Dipper has stepped into the realm of the gods. Unbelievable. She actually comprehended the primal chaos. This is unbelievable. That's Zhu Yang of the Ancestral Hall, and he's the Deputy Hall Master. The Lord of Big Dipper can actually exchange blows with him. I didn't expect the Big Dipper Sutra to be found and cultivated by the Lord of Big Dipper. Now that she's standing in the Big Dipper, even Zhu Yang can't easily suppress her. Could it be that the Lord of Big Dipper can't get the title of Big Dipper Supreme? This question made the older generation experts shake their heads. Once one comprehends the primal chaos, it's impossible to get the title of Supreme. Besides, with the fairy of Big Dipper's achievements, the title won't help her much. She's already stepped into a terrifying realm, and her future is limitless. The battle on planet Alcade was extremely terrifying. The space-time treasures were blurry, and it was difficult to see clearly. However, the starry sky where they fought was riddled with holes. Broken stars drifted, and even the great Tao began to tremble. They all took out their weapons, and the moment they erupted, the battle became even more intense. This was just the beginning. This was a battle of gods, and they were all using life-risking moves. It was very likely that someone would die. Some people were surprised that the Big Dipper lineage's old ancestor hadn't come out. However, after thinking about it, they shook their heads. If the Big Dipper lineage's old ancestor came out, then the Big Dipper lineage would completely fall out with the Ancestral Hall. Su Yin, come with me. Star Element and the others all rushed over. They had already received Bamboo Moon's orders to let Su Yin take a teleportation formation and leave the Big Dipper star region. The stars revolved, and Star Element and the other elders of the Big Dipper lineage used their great abilities to change the starry sky. They had to leave planet Alcade first. Stay here. Zhu Yang was furious. If Su Yin went far away from Big Dipper star region, it would be very difficult to find him again. He raised his palm and stretched it out, piercing through the great universe and covering the starry sky. He wanted to stop Star Element and the others and suppress Su Yin and take him away. However, Bamboo Moon's battle prowess made his heart burn with anger. The sky was filled with the sound of chanting, and the vast region was covered. The Bamboo Moon had opened up a unique star domain. This was her territory, and she was like a silver moon hanging high in the sky. No matter how majestic this hand was, it was very difficult to break through the time of this star domain. This was the power of the Big Dipper scripture. The Bamboo Moon seemed to have evolved a condensed Big Dipper star domain, drawing on the power of the ancient star domain's origin. Her combat strength was terrifying to the extreme. She, Bamboo Moon, was like a flying immortal from beyond the heavens. Her snow-white body rippled with moonlight. She held a silver sword core and gently slashed out, drawing out a crescent sword scar. The moment it was released, it rapidly enlarged, as if it could slice apart a world. Bastard, if your Big Dipper star domain dares to ruin my plans, I won't let you off easily. Zhu Liang brought out the golden sword core and slashed out furiously. The moment the two great killing swords clashed, they both shone. All kinds of killing lights overflowed from their bodies, interweaving together and creating a vacuum zone. The moment the two great experts clashed intensely, someone in Alcade City trembled. They saw a black mass in the outer realm's starry sky. It was an extremely huge battleship that crossed the universe and came over. It lay in the sky above Alcade Planet like a black continent. This battleship was too terrifying. It was suffused with the waves of ancient time. Countless great Tao heavenly marks were engraved on the battleship. This was definitely a supreme treasure, a battleship that could cross the universe's star domains. Not good. Star Element's expression was ugly. The battleship's door had already opened, and experts from the Ancestral Hall rushed out. These were all people under Zhu Liang's command. 5 great Tao realm experts descended from the sky, and over 10 quasi-Tao realm cultivators also rushed out. We found another vile spawn. Kiki, your Big Dipper star domain is really daring. You dare to block the Ancestral Hall's footsteps? I think you guys have been holed up here for too long. You don't know what the world has become. Why are you wasting words with them? Whoever dares to block the path of our Ancestral Hall will be killed directly. Just the 5 great Tao realm experts alone were strong enough. They were all experts of the older generation and had experienced hundreds of battles. Their statuses in the Ancestral Hall were very high. They were also the 5 great generals under Zhu Liang and were in charge of encircling the remnant soldiers of the burial region. When they rushed over, the power of great Tao that permeated the starry sky covered, blocking the path of Star Element and the others. You guys are going too far. Kill them. Star Element let out a furious roar. They rushed up and brought out their great killing weapons. Their eyes were filled with fury. This was the Big Dipper star domain after all. However, the Ancestral Hall acted without restraint, causing them to be furious. Suyin probably won't be able to escape. More and more people from the Ancestral Hall will definitely come. The Ancestral Hall has more than one Deputy Hallmaster. I don't think the old ancestor of the Big Dipper star domain is prepared to interfere. In order to protect Su Yin, the Big Dipper star domain probably won't bring out the clan's foundation and fight to the death with the Ancestral Hall. The spectators were discussing. This battle was too intense. In the battle in outer space, near the battleship, a group of experts took the lead to kill each other. The flames of war had already been ignited. The sky was filled with killing intent. The people of the Ancestral Hall seemed to have gone crazy. They wanted to charge over and kill Su Yin. Vile spawn, you can't escape. Come over obediently. Don't think that the Big Dipper star domain can protect you for long. There were a few Ancestral Palace younger generation members, all of them Zhu Liang's descendants. Their auras were extremely powerful, possessing half-Tao realm strength. They released cold and cruel voices, fighting against the Big Dipper bloodline's older generation experts. They angrily berated, "A group of old farts. I want to see just how long you all can last." Su Yin, hurry up and leave. Go to the Big Dipper Star domain and hide in the Big Dipper Star Pagoda. Star Element's voice was very urgent. He was really worried that other experts from the Ancestral Hall would come. If that happened, they wouldn't be able to stop them at all. Suyin clenched his fists. Under the shocked gazes of all around, he actually walked toward the battlefield. What is he trying to do? Some people were stunned. In this kind of battlefield, Dharma Plane cultivators were nothing but ashes. Even the young overlords were no exception. Suyin, hurry up and leave. Xiao Wen roared, taking out a killer weapon to delay the two overlords of the universe. Number 5, you can't escape. Since you've revealed your true body, there's no way for you to survive. In the hands of the Ancestral Hall, there's no vile spawn who's revealed their true body that can survive from our hands. A young man said cruelly, naming Suyin number 5. A wisp of angry blood burned. Suyin was furious. His body released a biting, cold, killing light, and blazing essence blood rolled over and over. He rushed forward, his aura instantly becoming terrifying. He activated the Tyrant Body Art. His entire body was filled with an extremely powerful and domineering aura. He was like a golden god of war striding over. Kill! Suyin roared at the sky. His blood boiled and burned. He was like an iron-blooded warrior, surging with monstrous, killing intent. The murderous aura that rushed toward him made Zhu Jingyan shiver. He didn't feel like he was facing number 5 anymore. Instead, he felt like a terrifying dragon had come out of its cage. His scalp was about to explode, and he felt a sense of impending doom. Kill! Suyin was overflowing with anger. He waved his fist, and his killing aura collapsed the sky. That punch was like a sun rising in the sky, illuminating the sky with dazzling golden light. Boom! The unstoppable punch was iron-blooded and domineering. It gathered the power of space and rippled with all kinds of energy as if the sun was burning there. Such a fist aura contained the source of energy that could evaporate rivers and seas. That was the solar fist. Now, it was unparalleled in Suyin's hands. Coupled with his unparalleled body, it exploded Zhu Jingyun's chest and shattered his bones. Even his blood and qi were evaporated by Suyin's fist aura. Ah! Zhu Jingyun shouted in fear. He was aging. That was the solar fist. Once hit, his life would be evaporated. Bang! Suyin descended from the sky and stomped Zhu Jingyun to death. His eyes were full of killing intent as he rushed into the battlefield. How can this vile spawn have such strength? He hasn't stepped into the quasi-Dao realm yet. Star Element and the other 5 great Dao realm experts who were trying their best to stop Suyin were furious. At this moment, Suyin was like an overlord of the younger generation. His hair danced in the wind as he charged into the battlefield. His moves were grand, and every strike contained the power to suppress the world. Boom! Suyin's fist aura overflowed into the sky. It was as if the sun was rotating in the sky. Punch after punch, each fist contained the power to burn mountains and boil seas. Pooh! A quasi-Dao realm cultivator of the older generation was sent flying. His head was chopped off by Suyin's blood-colored halberd. Then, he charged into another battlefield like a true dragon. He clenched the solar fist with his left hand and the Big Dipper fist with his right hand. 2 near-invincible secret techniques were released here. All kinds of killing intent surged, and a 3rd quasi-Dao realm cultivator was killed on the spot. Is this still Suyin? After not seeing him for half a year, he can even kill a quasi-Dao realm cultivator. The various experts who were watching the battle in Brilliant City were shocked. Some didn't dare to believe this scene. In particular, the people from the Shui family were furious. How could Suyin have such combat strength? They even saw Suyin throw out one killing array after another. He used the secret techniques of the mystical sect to revive these killing arrays. Suyin's combat strength increased tremendously. He was like a divine king who was bathed in blood. He waved his fists here, beating up Zhu Yang's descendants until their blood flowed in the sky. In Brilliant City, the group of cultivators who were watching the battle were dumbfounded. Those were high and mighty quasi-Dao realm cultivators, But now, 6 of them had been killed by Su Yin. He used the essence of the Big Dipper ancestral bloodline to continue his combat strength. Time and time again, he killed a group of Zhu Liang's descendants. Su Yin, I admit that you're very strong. Suddenly, wisps of terrifying aura surged out, suppressing the shattered starry sky. Chapter 364. Su Yin was covered in blood. He carried the blood-colored halberd and was covered in wounds. However, his terrifying, ferocious aura suppressed the experts watching the battle. Just now, Su Yin was like an overlord of the younger generation, killing batch after batch of knights from the ancestral hall. However, Han Jin had come. After all, he was a universe master, and he was even a pinnacle universe Star Lord. His combat power was similar to Zhu Jingtian's. Even if Su Yin could kill the strongest universe master among quasi-Dao realms, to kill a pinnacle great Dao realm master, this was basically impossible. No one could do it. Everyone under the great Dao was an ant. This was an empty talk. Even the weakest great Dao realm expert wasn't someone Su Yin could shake. What's going on? Why is Han Jin interfering? Doesn't he know that the Big Dipper Star Lord has broken through? This old fellow, he can't be crazy, right? Why is he targeting Su Yin? Doesn't he know that His Highness Dao Zhu is humiliating the entire Big Dipper lineage? The cultivators watching the battle in Alcade City were all terrified. Han Jin's actions were equivalent to betraying the Big Dipper lineage. Even Palace Master Alcade and the others couldn't make a move at this time, but Han Jin had. Han Jin, what are you trying to do? Star Element's face was ashen. He said in a sorrowful and indignant voice, "Look at the situation now. Can't you put aside your personal grudges for now and deal with the enemy before you first?" Hearing this, Han Jin appeared very calm. Majestic energy surged in his body and gushed out, sealing the starry sky inside and out to ensure that Su Yin couldn't escape from his grasp. "Haha, what personal grudges? Su Yin killed my disciple. He should be executed," Han Jin said coldly. "However, not only did Su Yin not be executed, but you all are helping this evil creature. The sect is unfair to me. I'll leave the Big Dipper lineage and join the Ancestral Hall." He said he wants to leave the Big Dipper lineage. Everyone who heard this was dumbfounded. Withdraw from the Big Dipper lineage? One had to know that he was Han Jin, a Grand Elder of the Big Dipper clan. With his high status, he was proficient in all sorts of Big Dipper clan's ultimate techniques and inherited secret techniques. If he really left the Big Dipper clan, then the various inheritances of the Big Dipper clan would be leaked and obtained by the Ancestral Hall. "You're too despicable." Bamboo Moon was so angry that her entire body trembled. She gritted her teeth and waved her slender jade-like hand, wanting to kill Han Jin directly. "Ha! Lord of the Big Dipper, you're an expert after all. You think you can attack my subordinates? How rude." Zhu Liang laughed heartily, feeling very pleased with himself. Although he was currently trapped by the Bamboo Moon, the moment the Bamboo Moon relaxed, the seal she created would no longer be able to trap Zhu Liang. Now, neither of them could interfere with other matters. "You call me despicable?" Han Jin laughed angrily. "Little Star Lord, you've indulged Su Yin time and time again. He's caused so much trouble. It's fine if you don't punish him, but now you're shielding Su Yin. If this scourge isn't eliminated, I, Han Jin, will immediately leave the sect. I'll tell you the truth. If the sect has him, it's either me or him." Han Jin roared hysterically. "You should be clear about your choice. Even if I leave the sect, I'll still kill Su Yin and do one last thing for the Big Dipper clan." Looking at the righteous Han Jin, Star Element and the others were enraged. It was clearly Han Tong who wanted to kill Su Yin time and time again. Moreover, they knew that Han Jin had to leave. In the past, he had always opposed Bamboo Moon and made things difficult for her. Now that Bamboo Moon had taken this step, Han Jin was a little frightened. He felt that if he didn't leave the sect, what awaited him wouldn't be a good ending. Therefore, he was prepared to strike first to gain the upper hand. It was better to make a great contribution and obtain a high position in the Ancestral Hall than get lost. The further the better. Bamboo Moon's voice was cold. She didn't believe that if Han Tong really rebelled, the Big Dipper clan's old ancestor would be able to sit still. After all, Han Tong had mastered most of the Big Dipper clan's inherited secret techniques. Once he joined the Ancestral Hall, the Big Dipper clan would definitely suffer a great loss. All right, this is your choice. Everyone take a look. Han Jin's old face was ferocious. He roared angrily. In order to protect Su Yin, you've expelled me from a sect. Then don't blame me for being merciless and crippling Su Yin. Old thing, you've always wanted to kill me. Who are you talking to now? Su Yin sneered. I'm right here. You can kill me or cut me up as you wish. But you must have the ability to do so. You evil creature. If it wasn't for you, how could I have fallen to this point? Terrifying fury appeared in Han Jin's eyes. He stared at Su Yin and said ferociously, I won't kill you so easily. I'll destroy your physical body, imprison your primordial spirit, and send it to Lord Zhu Liang. Boom! His palm pressed down furiously as he roared. I'll let you live in purgatory for the rest of your life. Old thing, stop. Xiaowen pounced over and took out a divine Dao weapon. This was a long saber that released snow-white saber light. It was released one after another, sweeping across Han Jin's back. Xiaowen, you're too young. You still want to fight with me? You can't do it. Scram to the side. A hint of disdain flashed in Han Jin's eyes. He flipped his palm and slashed out furiously, crushing the saber light that filled the sky. He then charged toward Xiaowen with destructive ripples. Old thing, you've really lost your mind. Have you been living like a dog all these years? Xiaowen let out a furious roar. After all, he had just stepped into the Great Dao realm a few months ago. How could he possibly be an expert of the same domain as Han Jin? He was suppressed the moment they exchanged blows. It was very difficult for him to stop Han Jin. The sky was filled with the light of Great Dao clashing. It was obvious who was stronger and who was weaker. Xiaowen was suppressed. Han Jin raised his palm very decisively and slammed it down on Xiaowen's chest. The impact caused Xiaowen's entire body to tremble as he was sent flying fiercely. Han Jin, you old thing. Star Element and a Grand Elder were extremely furious. They hadn't expected that such a variable would appear. Even the palace masters of the 7 palace halls didn't interfere. They were all great Dao realm experts. Han Jin had probably secretly informed these people. They wanted to kill Su Yin too much. After all, the Mizar Palace Master and the others all felt sorry for Su Yin. If Su Yin really rose up in the future, they were worried that Su Yin would take revenge on them. Therefore, they chose to remain silent and didn't help. After all, the old ancestor didn't step out either. This meant that the old ancestor wasn't willing to offend the ancestral palace. The reason for this was that Su Yin didn't have any records or experiences in the Big Dipper lineage. The old ancestor was also very suspicious of Su Yan's identity. Kill. At this moment, the 5 great experts under Zhu Liang's command counterattacked. Having lost Xiaowen's power, Star Element and the other 2 experts staggered back. Their blockade was broken through. Ha ha! Han Jin, you've done well. When we return to the Ancestral Palace, I'll personally take credit for you. The treatment you'll receive will definitely be over 10 times better than what you received in the Big Dipper lineage. That's right. You captured Su Yin alive. This is a great contribution. The old ancestor might come out of seclusion to receive you personally. In any case, the future is bright. Zhu Liang's 5 subordinates, the 5 great Dao realm experts, laughed heartily. They had already charged over. Their speed was very fast, surpassing Star Element and the other 2 as they closed in on Han Jin. Hee, number 5, long time no see. I wonder if you still remember me now. An old man in black armor smiled cruelly. I've been looking for you for a long time. Number 5, come back to the Ancestral Palace with me obediently. That's where you belong. Don't worry. We won't kill you easily. You're still very useful to us. Speak. How many accomplices do you have? If you can tell us, we'll naturally reward you handsomely. In fact, you can even live on and become a warrior of our Ancestral Palace. You can search for other vile spawns for our Ancestral Palace. In the future, when we let you out, there's still hope for you to be conferred the title of king. These 5 old experts under Zhu Liang's command exuded a very terrifying bloody aura. During these years, they had killed many members of the bloodline of the burial region. They were like 5 ruthless old assassins that wandered through the major star areas to hunt down the remnants of the bloodline of the burial region. Now that they saw Su Yin, it was as if they had seen a pile of gold. Their eyes lit up. After all, the ancient ancestor had passed down a message. For every one of 5 people who were still alive, the reward would be extremely generous. Even great Tao realm cultivators would be envious. In fact, they even felt that number 5 might be their ultimate target. After all, back then, Su Yin had been escorted by a group of burial region experts. From the moment he entered the star tomb, he had been missing. No clues could be found. You will be asterisk stars. Su Yin was unafraid. He looked up to the sky and laughed loudly. Aren't you afraid of retribution and into your bloodline? Han Jin and the other 5 experts had sinister expressions. One of them sneered and said, Su Yin, it seems like you've already chosen the path of death. I'll let you know that there are some things even more terrifying than death in my hands. I'll make you beg for death. What's going on? The spectators in Brilliant City were a little surprised. This was because from a moment the 6 experts charged towards Su Yin, Star Element, and the others had started to rapidly retreat. What did this mean? Could it be that they were also prepared to give up on Su Yin? Something's not right. Hurry up and attack. Han Jin realized that Star Element and the others had actually left. His heart thumped. He was afraid that he would miss out on a great achievement. He directly raised his palm and slashed towards Su Yin. There's no need to worry too much. He's already in my hands. How can he escape? The 5 experts were extremely disdainful. However, Su Yin's calm appearance really made their hair stand on end. Could it be that he still had some trump card? But could it be that he could threaten great Tao realm cultivators? Kill. The 6 experts instantly recovered. This part of the starry sky was covered by the aura of the great Tao. Su Yin, who was inside, felt as if his body and mind were about to break apart. All of you go to hell. A terrifying and ominous glint flashed in Su Yin's eyes. There was a hint of savagery on his face, and his entire body exuded the wrath of the heavens. Something's not right. The expressions of the 6 experts suddenly changed drastically. A wisp of aura was awakening on Su Yin's body. It was very terrifying. The moment it drilled out, their divine souls trembled violently, and their limbs turned cold. It was as if they had fallen into a purgatory. Roar! In an instant, a loud roar exploded. The sound of a dragon's roar rolled out like the sea. It was like a huge mushroom cloud that swept out in all directions. That terrifying light and resplendent golden light swept through the entire Big Dipper constellation. Kill! Su Yin roared and waved his fist. A true dragon drilled out and coiled around Su Yin's fist. When this punch was thrown out, even the sky exploded. The area within a radius of 100,000 miles evaporated into a terrifying, huge black hole. Rumble! The unparalleled dragon fist was peerlessly terrifying. It could evaporate rivers and seas, and even the sun was annihilated. Everything trembled. Chapter 365. I can't see anything. The grand middle region trembled. This was endless divine light descending from the sky. It was as if a sun had exploded in the sky, scattering down endless divine light that pierced through gold and cracked rocks. It shattered mountain ranges and swept across the grand middle region. Even in the sky, stars fell. The sun shattered, and they fell uniformly like a beautiful meteor shower descending from the sky. The scene was enough to shock the world. For a time, the entire Brilliant City seemed to have experienced an apocalypse. All the living beings looked up at the sky. The starry sky in the outer realm had evaporated into a huge black hole. The temperature of the dragon fist was too blazing. It was a peerless and invincible fist technique that had awakened here. Su Yin was like a peerless divine king, piercing through the universe's starry sea. This is his trump card. Little man, you have really shocked me. Zixioning's jade-like hand covered her sexy red lips. Her limpid eyes stared at the scene in the outer realm. It was like the scene of the universe being destroyed. It devoured 6 great Tao realm cultivators, causing them to tremble as their bodies began to be destroyed. This scene caused everyone to tremble in fear, and a chill ran down their spines. They were all great Tao realm experts, but now they were being destroyed on their own. What if they were in the same situation? If this punch had been unleashed in Brilliant City, how many people would have died? Zhu Yang's 5 subordinates trembled from their souls. They were terrified to the point of despair. They were waiting for death. Every breath was as long as 1,000 years. Be Astra's start, stop. Zhu Yang let out a furious roar. A total of 5 great Tao realm experts' bodies shattered one after another. Even their souls were evaporated. There was no hope for them to survive. Such means and such a supreme treasure. It was simply a forbidden weapon belonging to the Divine King that had awakened here. This was the power of the Dragon Fist. Su Yan didn't know how strong it was. It was like the dragon soul that protected Su Yan. This was also its second eruption. Su Yan didn't expect it to be so strong. Originally, he wanted to use the Dragon Fist to carve out a bloody path and cross to the Big Dipper Star region. But in the end, the Dragon Fist's power shocked him. The 5 great Tao realm experts were destroyed one after another, exploding. This was too terrifying. How domineering was this fist technique? The Divine King's forbidden weapon. It must be the Divine King's forbidden weapon. The Golden Dragon King's heart trembled. Oh my God! No wonder Su Yan asked us to retreat first. I didn't expect him to have such a terrifying forbidden weapon. Shaowen was so frightened that his face turned pale. This was too terrifying. It was as if the Divine King of the Dragon Race was enraged here, his roar shattering the universe and shaking the entire Big Dipper Star region. It was as if someone saw the aura of this true dragon drowning the entire Big Dipper Star region. How terrifying and peerless was this? He was simply the invincible Divine King of the world. Clang! Clang! But what was unexpected was that Han Jin actually survived. Although half of his body had been shattered, at the critical moment, the dragon totem had touched the godly monarch weapon in his body. The moment the divine furnace flew out, it had suppressed Han Jin. Han Jin, you Olbi Astra start. Don't tell me you still want to steal our race's divine king's weapon? Star Element, who was far away, was so angry that he stomped his feet and cursed. This was the Divine King's weapon of the Big Dipper lineage. He didn't expect Han Jin to take it away. If he really defected, then the Divine King's weapon would definitely be stolen by him. After all, it was the Divine King's weapon. At the crucial moment, it protected Han Jin's life spring, preventing him from turning into ashes along with the 5 great Tao realm cultivators. However, he didn't feel good either. He coughed up large mouthfuls of blood and let out shrill cries. Half of his body was destroyed, and he was trembling in pain. However, Han Jin didn't dare to stay here for a moment longer. He turned around and ran, never wanting to return. You want to run? Su Yan's chest heaved up and down. His eyes were like lightning as he looked at Han Jin. He directly raised his blood-colored halberd and charged forward. Little bastard, you still want to kill me? You deceitful bastard. Han Tong turned his body around, looking miserable beyond recognition. However, he still brought out the Divine King's weapon and smashed it towards Su Yan. However, the moment the Divine King's weapon was brought out, it flew away with a buzz. It was like a shooting star landing in Bamboo Moon's hands. Bamboo Moon had awakened the Divine King's weapon. The waves of energy that could evaporate the heavens and boil the seas made Zhu Yang feel a sense of danger. With such a Divine King's weapon in hand, it was like a tiger that had grown wings. Zhu Yang was very wary of it. He passively defended himself to prevent himself from being injured by the shockwaves from the Divine King's weapon. Hand over your life. Su Yan swooped down. The blood-colored halberd cut through the air and came crashing down. Han Jin let out a miserable cry. His injuries were too severe. Even with the stellar transposition secret technique, he only managed to shift a very short distance. Yet his arm was chopped off by Su Yan. You can't kill me. Sooner or later, I will grind your bones to dust. Han Jin let out a low roar of grief. He rushed towards Alcade Planet, preparing to open up the Alcade Palace's foundation and take the opportunity to escape Big Dipper. If Han Jin really dares to come, kill him. Alcade Palace Master's eyes flashed with a cold intent. Once he betrays my Big Dipper bloodline, my clan's inheritance will be incomplete. We cannot allow him to leave Alcade Planet alive. As you command. The powerhouse overseeing Alcade Palace nodded. Although they wanted to establish their own clan, they definitely wouldn't do such a crazy thing. After all, the Big Dipper bloodline was the result of their ancestors' endless blood, sweat, and tears. Old bastard, you won't be able to escape. Seeing Han Jin rush towards Alcade City, Su Yan's eyes were filled with killing intent. He used spatial contraction to cross a vast territory, crossing 1,000 miles of space and time. When he appeared once more, Brilliance City trembled. Su Yan descended from the sky, wearing the astral battle armor. Under the state of the tyrant body art, his entire body emitted a terrifying energy fluctuation. He forced his way toward Han Jin's back and raised his palm to slap him. PFFF. Han Jin staggered and fell to the ground. He was like a dead dog as he let out a low and sinister roar. Han Jin was in great pain. Su Yan had already walked over. He was as cold as a demon god. He stepped on Han Jin's chest, causing Han Jin to cough up blood. He roared ferociously. Su Yan, if you dare to kill me, my clan's ancestor will never let you off. You have targeted me time and time again. Today you won't live. Su Yan shouted angrily. He stepped on Han Jin's chest and punched him. Han Jin felt as if he had fallen into an ice cave. His eyes were filled with fear as he lost control and said, "No, stop it." Han Jin roared crazily. Die in Su Yan's hands? He couldn't accept it. Die. Su Yan bellowed furiously. His eyes were filled with coldness as he punched down fiercely on Han Jin's head. This wasn't just a single punch. Su Yan punched down consecutively. He punched a total of 3 times, causing Han Jin's head to explode and his primordial spirit to explode. Han Jin's physical body was then kicked into the sky and smashed into pieces with the blood-colored great halberd. Blood rained down from the sky. A blood-stained figure stood in Alcade City, exuding overwhelming divine might. Gasp! Gasps rang out from all directions. Everyone who saw this scene was stunned. That was Han Jin, the Grand Elder of the Big Dipper lineage. However, he had been killed by Su Yan with a single punch. The doyens of the Big Dipper lineage heaved a sigh of relief. They were really afraid that Han Jin would escape. 6 great Dao Realm experts were all killed by him. After this battle ends, if Su Yan is still alive, the entire universe will be in an uproar. He has killed a total of 6 great Dao Realm experts. This is a miracle. Although he has the Divine King's treasures, he still succeeded in killing 6 great Dao Realm experts. Some people's words were filled with disbelief. How powerful were great Dao Realm experts? One of them could support an entire clan. However, a total of 6 of them had died today, and 5 of them were even the 5 great experts of the Ancestral Hall. Some people felt that this matter had already pierced through the heavens. Even if Su Yan had died, this battle achievement was enough to be passed down through the ages. Bang! A vast aura spread out. The divine furnace in Bamboo Moon's hands spewed out light, burning the divine power in the sky into powder. Even the primal chaos was evaporated. This was the Divine King's weapon. Now it was in Bamboo Moon's hands, and she was attacking forward. B***starred. Zhu Liang coughed out large mouthfuls of blood. His hair was disheveled, and his eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. It was very difficult for him to block the Divine King's weapon. The main reason was that Bamboo Moon was too strong. Otherwise, Zhu Liang wouldn't have suffered such a great loss. Quickly look. Many people cried out in surprise. They saw a black mass at the end of the universe. Many huge battleships were crossing over. They were stronger than the battleships that had just arrived. In fact, a terrifying torrent rushed out from the battleships. The moment it was transmitted, the surrounding starry sky distorted. This was definitely an expert who was even more astonishing than Zhu Liang. Su Yan, Quickly leave with me. Star Element hurried over. If he returned to the Big Dipper star region now, there was still a glimmer of hope. However, Su Yin shook his head. He left, holding the blood-colored halberd. He took one last look at Bamboo Moon, clenched his fists, and disappeared into the void with a few quick steps. Bamboo Moon, I'm leaving. If I can come back alive, I'll definitely come back to look for you. Take care of yourself and expel me from the sect. Su Yin didn't want to implicate the Big Dipper lineage. The ancestral hall was too strong. Although Bamboo Moon could block Zhu Liang now, there was one more, two, or even three more. Su Yin didn't believe that the current Bamboo Moon was as strong as Grandpa Bamboo Moon back in the day. Therefore, he had to leave. Otherwise, he would implicate Bamboo Moon and the Big Dipper lineage. Can I cross to the Big Dipper? Su Yin muttered in his heart. His speed was too fast. He had already rushed out of Alcade City. He suddenly thought of a place, the Savage Mountain of the southern region. Just as Su Yin was crossing, he felt a trace of spatial fluctuation. Just as he was about to block it, a familiar aura surged over. Follow me. Song Yin strangely appeared in the space where Su Yin was. His entire body was filled with spatial profound fluctuations. He swept Su Yin and instantly crossed the space. His speed was several times faster than Su Yan's. You can't protect me. There's no need for you to get involved. Su Yin looked at the dignified Zi Xiaoning. His eyes were filled with gratitude and complicated emotions. Hearing this, the corners of Zi Xiaoning's mouth curled up. She revealed a charming smile and said, "Don't worry. They won't be able to find this place in a short time. I also don't have the ability to send you to another star region in a short time. However, I feel that you have a way to leave." Su Yin was silent. Go to the Savage Mountain? He hesitated. Once it was breached, his life would be in danger. He felt that he should leave the Big Dipper star region and avoid this dangerous place. He was too weak and didn't have the strength to survive. You want to go to the Big Dipper? Song Yin was surprised, but he didn't ask much. He quickly brought Su Yin to the Savage Mountain. The Savage Mountain was very close to here. He was confident that he could bring Su Yin to the Savage Mountain without being detected by the Ancestral Hall's experts. Young mistress, you can't follow me anymore. If you encounter danger, you'll be in trouble. Song Yin directly teleported Zi Xiaoning out and brought Su Yin along alone. Did you ask for my permission? Zi Xiaoning almost fell into a pool. Her face darkened as she steadied herself. She looked in the direction Su Yin left and muttered to herself, "You killed 6 great Dao Realm cultivators of the Transcendence Realm. I really look forward to the day when great Dao Realm experts crawl and tremble under your feet." Chapter 366. Has the Ancestral Hall gone mad? Just to kill Su Yin, they've mobilized so many troops to the Big Dipper starfield. Aren't they afraid of causing a starfield war? The entire Big Dipper starfield was rippling with all sorts of destructive auras. Even the surrounding great powers were dumbfounded. They all thought the Ancestral Hall was attacking the Big Dipper starfield because battleships after battleships crossed the starfield and arrived. There were more than a dozen battleships, and each one was like a star. They were engraved with profound heavenly marks of the great Tao and emitted the aura of space profundity. They crossed time and space, and the spaced-out diagrams engraved on the battleships glowed as they traveled at an astonishing speed. The battleships came from all directions of the Big Dipper starfield and stopped in all directions of Alcade Planet. The airflow they emitted made the billions of beings on Alcade Planet tremble in fear. Boom! Killing intent surged into the sky as the doors of the battleships opened. Heavy footsteps could be heard as though there were 100,000 mountains lining up. These were troops after troops of soldiers. They wore battle armor and carried iron spears, as if they were elite soldiers that had rushed out from hell. Every single one of them possessed terrifying auras. When they fully recovered, their auras merged into one, and it was as if a vast ocean was roaring. An army of 10,000. Some people felt their hair stand on end. This was a huge move. The Ancestral Hall was simply going to conquer the Big Dipper starfield by mobilizing 100,000 troops. They were like a group of gods and demons roaring as they took out a huge flag. The flag fluttered loudly as killing intent surged. The entire Alcade planet was covered by a terrifying light. This was the sound of killing, the momentum of a huge army galloping forward. Of course, there were also great beings from the Ancestral Hall walking out. Each of them was like the abyss of the great Tao and unimaginably powerful. They were the leaders of the army, and they carried killing swords as they looked down on the entire Alcade planet. There were also great beings with auras stronger than Zhu Yang who were recovering. Vast amounts of essence blood flooded the great universe and filled the sky above Alcade planet. It was about to radiate out and sweep across the entire Big Dipper starfield. What are they trying to do? In Alcade City, the various universe masters who had gathered all turned pale. Were they saying the Ancestral Hall was trying to capture Su Yin? They found it hard to believe. They all thought the Ancestral Hall was going to conquer the Big Dipper starfield, the once most powerful ancient planet. Boom! A terrifying large hand stretched down from outer space. Bloody light rushed into the heavens, and the stars in the sky began to tremble. This large hand directly pressed down to suppress the Bamboo Moon. Zhu Yang was in dire straits right now. Bamboo Moon's fighting prowess was already extraordinary, and now she was wielding the Divine King's weapon. Zhu Yang was forced to retreat again and again, and his vast essence blood was being refined, causing him to be weakened. Now, another terrifying existence from the Ancestral Hall took action, joining forces to suppress Bamboo Moon. Ancestral Hall, you've crossed the line. An icy voice pierced through the sky and spread throughout the entire Big Dipper constellation. For a time, the ancestral grounds of the Big Dipper clan surged with layer after layer of ancient light that illuminated the starry sky. The brilliance was too resplendent. Many creatures saw that this was the Big Dipper bloodline's ancestral land. Within the surging sea of clouds, figures with powerful auras rose one after another. There were definitely more than 10 powerful old antiques. There were even old ancestors of the Big Dipper bloodline erupting with their auras. Although their chi and blood were in decline, the moment they awakened, their brilliance illuminated the cosmos and caused countless stars to tremble. So this is the Big Dipper bloodline's foundation. Everyone was astonished as over 10 old monsters walked out from the seal. Their eyes were cold. This was the Big Dipper constellation, their ancestral land that had originated from millions of years ago. But now, a large number of experts from the Ancestral Hall had attacked in such an unbridled manner that they had thoroughly infuriated the Big Dipper bloodline. Some of the slumbering elders woke up one after another and began to call for their comrades. There was no doubt that the Big Dipper bloodline would send out a few more old ancestors. If you don't hand over Su Yin, this matter won't end peacefully. Zhu Yang replied with an angry roar that spread throughout the entire Big Dipper constellation. Kill! The experts from the Ancestral Hall neighed loudly. They had awakened, and all kinds of energy ripples swept out in a uniform manner. The scene was too spectacular and seemed to cover the entire Alcade planet. Buzz! A withered palm stretched out, tearing apart the great cosmos and shaking the boundless sea of stars. All kinds of energy that rushed toward Bamboo Moon were forcibly dispersed by this palm. Like an immortal hand, chaotic beams of light rippled out on their own and rushed into the sky. It was as if a cosmic storm had swept out, causing the starry skies to collapse and the sun and moon to fall. The center of the withered palm was like a primal chaos universe. Numerous great primal chaos stars floated out and rumbled, shaking the 9 heavens. The tens of thousands of elite soldiers from the Ancestral Hall felt a chill run down their spines. They were about to be smashed into pieces by this palm. However, a palm stretched out from a battleship and similarly possessed world-shaking power. Too frightening. The entire Big Dipper constellation was overflowing with resplendent light. Anyone could see that 2 large hands had appeared in outer space and surged with chaotic beams of light. Once they collided, Boundless killing intent would be born, and the people would be plunged into misery and suffering. Are you sure you want to fight? A vague yet majestic figure walked out from the battleship. It was as if he was standing at the end of the universe and looking down at the Big Dipper constellation. He said coldly, "Aren't you afraid of sinking the Big Dipper constellation?" Dong dong. A withered, old man appeared in the ancestral land of the Big Dipper lineage. He took a step forward and appeared on the Alcade planet. Although his body was a bit short, everyone could sense a peerless aura similar to that of the Divine King. Old Star-Lord, Star Element, and the others were frantic with excitement. This was the Star-Lord of the Big Dipper lineage from 2 generations ago. He was also once the supreme of the Big Dipper constellation. Back then, he had slaughtered his way through the great starry seas and contended for hegemony. Although he was very old now, he was still quite old. Although he had lived for 10,000 years, his combat strength was still world-shaking. A peak expert who had lived for 10,000 years was definitely a living fossil. Although his vitality had declined to the extreme, he could still erupt with peak combat strength and kill powerful enemies. So many people have come just to kill a junior? The short old Star-Lord mocked. This old man doesn't believe your ancestral hall only has this goal. Although my Big Dipper lineage has declined, we're not to be trampled on by anyone. How much combat strength do you have left? How much more can your Big Dipper lineage bring out? The great figure from the ancestral hall coldly said, "I only want to take Su Yin away. Let me give you a piece of advice, don't block my way. Those who block me shall die." The experts from the ancestral hall all let out murderous roars and raised their swords. As long as the order was given, they would directly rush over without the slightest fear. What a great ancestral hall. Do you think you're the masters of the universe? The old Star-Lord looked up to the sky and roared with laughter. "I really want to see if even one of the people you brought can walk out alive. Kill." The Big Dipper lineage was filled with murderous roars. The group of old antiques was furious. The ancestral hall was too arrogant. This was no longer because of Su Yin, but because of their reputation. If they were to back down, it would be a great loss of face. Buzz. Suddenly, an ancestral hall expert's mirror lit up. The image of a desolate mountain appeared on the mirror. Not good. Song Yun immediately left Su Yin. Before leaving, he handed over a treasure to Su Yin and said, "Good luck. This is a gift from the young miss." As soon as Song Yun disappeared, a vertical eye seemed to have opened in the sky. It saw through all illusions and saw Su Yin. "They're here." Su Yin used spatial bending to cross the distance. He was now very close to the Big Dipper star. As long as he could reach the Devil Mist Forbidden Zone, he would be able to leave the Big Dipper star field. That's him. On Alcade Planet, murderous lights were as vast as the ocean. The ancestral hall's weapons were all activated and illuminated the starry sky. Even if your Big Dipper lineage uses up all its resources, I'll still take Su Yin away. The great figure from the ancestral hall inside the Ark had awakened with a tyrannical will. This caused the old Star-Lord to be astonished. Just what was this Su Yin's background? He actually had the 2 vice lords of the ancestral hall come in person. Let's fight in the outer realms. The old Star-Lord pondered for a moment before his body soared into the sky and disappeared into the starry sky. It was as if he had rushed into an uninhabited region. The moment the 2 experts disappeared, it was as if a great mountain had disappeared from this part of the starry sky. Their auras were too terrifying and not something an ordinary expert could withstand. Moreover, once a battle broke out here, the number of casualties would be unimaginable. A series of great battles erupted in the sky above Alcade City. However, there were already experts from the ancestral hall who had taken the lead and crossed into the desolate mountain forest. There were also huge arcs following behind. Alcade Planet was in complete chaos. The flames of war were burning as the lords of various factions fought each other. There were also many experts who crossed into the desolate mountain forest. Some had a premonition that Su Yin might still be entering the Devil Mist Forbidden Zone. Su Yin had already crossed to the Big Dipper star. He rejoiced that he had comprehended a part of the spatial profundities. Otherwise, it would have been very difficult for him to reach the Devil Mist Forbidden Zone in such a short time. Number 5. Where can you run to? There's already a large group of experts rushing over. Huge arcs followed behind them, crushing the heaven and earth with rumbling sounds. The desolate mountain was trembling. Countless creatures were trembling in fear. They raised their heads and saw a sea of killing light engulfing everything. It was as if millions of mountains were pressing down on them. Mountain ranges sank one after another. Huge cracks extended out, and thousands of miles of rivers and mountains collapsed. There were also some large tribes that were crushed and exploded by the aura of the arcs. Blood rained down from the sky, and the desolate mountain forest seemed to have been dyed in blood. What were they trying to do? The Golden Dragon King and the others who were tailing behind had ugly expressions. Wasn't this too ruthless? They were treating the millions of creatures in the desolate mountain like ants and wantonly slaughtering them without any fear. They didn't even look at them. Damn it! A senior elder from the Big Dipper lineage rushed over and roared. He only hated the fact that the Big Dipper lineage wasn't strong enough to stop the extraterrestrial invaders. In just a few breaths' time, the entire desolate mountain seemed to be on the verge of sinking. Villages exploded one after another. There were also mutant beasts with powerful cultivation that were crushed. They were panicking. They didn't know what was happening at all before their souls were pierced. You devils, you will suffer retribution. There were cultivators who survived and cried out miserably. Their villages were destroyed, and many elders and children were annihilated. In short, the people from the Ancestral Hall acted without restraint. The moment they broke into the desolate mountain forest, there were countless corpses and a sea of blood. Even the sky was dyed red. They even continued to crush the interior. Their aura was fully released without holding back, and it swept through the entire desolate mountain forest. That great pressure made the creatures here tremble in fear. It was as if the heaven and earth were about to explode. Motherf asterisk curs, they all need to be taught a lesson. Suddenly, a terrifying bronze hand descended from the sky. It struck down, and the experts from the Ancestral Hall instantly fell into despair. When they looked down on the desolate mountain forest from high above, it was as if they were treating millions of creatures like ants. But at the same time, there were also people who treated them like ants. The bronze hand's flames were terrifying, and it was as if a huge earthquake had occurred in the desolate mountain forest. Boom! Chapter 367. The experts who had followed to watch the battle felt goosebumps all over their bodies. They all froze in the void, and some of them even felt their legs go soft. It was as if a terrifying giant beast was looking down on them, as if it was the master of their lives. The giant palm descended from the sky. It came from afar and filled the sky. It was grand and peerless, as if the heavens were about to collapse. The moment it pressed down, it carried an aura that could destroy heaven and earth. It made the mountains and forests tremble as if millions of thunderbolts had struck the earth. However, the person who attacked deliberately suppressed it and didn't hurt the innocent. If it wasn't for this slap, the mountains and forests would have collapsed. Boom! The 6 battleships were torn apart, and a large number of Ancestral Hall's troops were smashed into meat paste. Blood poured down like a torrential downpour, dyeing the shattered heaven and earth red. The smell of blood filled the sky. Who exactly is it? Some of the surviving Ancestral Hall cultivators were trembling. Their hearts were filled with fear and shock. This was too savage. A single slap was enough to bury them here. The entire mountains and forests were dead silent. Terrifying energy ripples undulated here, shaking all directions. Could this be the dojo of an ancient god? Someone said in fear. Could there be a big shot hibernating in the mountains and forests? The ripples produced by this slap intimidated all the experts who had barged in. They didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Some of the universe's overlords were even scared away. The bronze palm was like the hand of a god. It emitted a terrifying aura that filled the sky and suppressed the universe. Some people felt that it could overturn the entire mountains and forests and kill all the Ancestral Hall's troops with a single slap. At the end of the giant palm stood a blurry figure. It was like an immortal furnace burning. He didn't show his true body, but his awakened divine might couldn't be concealed. It was trembling. Who did this? The experts tailing them retreated. They didn't dare to follow closely. Some suspected that it was Su Yan's protector. They thought of the mysterious man in the southern region. Some suspected that there was a big shot hibernating in the mountains and forests. He was angered by the Ancestral Hall's massacre, so he made a move. They were more inclined to the latter. It was very likely that there was a big shot hibernating in the Savage Mountains. Only the heavens knew what kind of background it had. In short, it was an unforgettable scene for all the cultivators who saw it. Soon after, this terrifying palm disappeared, returning to primal chaos. To this day, no one knew who was the culprit who killed a large number of the Ancestral Hall's troops and smashed one battleship after another. Could it be them? Bamboo Moon's state of mind relaxed. She frowned slightly. She had read in the secret records of the Northern Dipper faction that there might be a hidden power in the desolate mountain forest. However, this record was too ancient. Bamboo Moon couldn't say for sure who exactly helped Su Yan. Maybe it was an expert from the burial region. I don't know how many years it will be before I can see you again. Bamboo Moon sighed softly in her heart. Her eyes were like stars as she glanced back at the desolate mountain forest. A hint of sadness appeared in her heart. The Ancestral Hall was too powerful, and the bloodline of the burial region had long been destroyed. Although Su Yan's potential was astonishing, in the top 10 ancient planets where the young paragons were always strong, it was almost impossible for him to stand out. Moreover, Su Yan was a rising star of the burial region. Just by thinking about it, Zhu Yu knew how difficult his future path would be. Either he remained silent, or he would struggle to the death in battle, or he would slaughter his way to the heavens. Who was it that helped me just now? Su Yan had already crossed to the Big Dipper. He directly passed through the Big Dipper Pagoda and entered the core region. Even though Su Yan was standing on the Big Dipper, he could still feel the fluctuations radiating from the desolate mountain forest just now. The enemies who had been chasing him had all been destroyed, and their terrifying combat strength had been transmitted to the vast Big Dipper. Many experts who were comprehending the Tao had seen an incomparable palm destroy the entire battlefield with just the strength of the fleshly body. If I become a powerhouse, I will definitely make the Ancestral Hall pay the price. Su Yan turned back to look at the Big Dipper star region. He clenched his fists and swore in his heart that he would return. Although this was extremely difficult, close to a fool's dream, Su Yan's heart surged with great ambition. For a single person to deter a peak power of the universe, one needed to have unrivaled combat strength that could shake the ancients and dazzle the contemporaries, a peerless powerhouse that stood at the peak of the pyramid. Bamboo Moon and the many grand elders of the Big Dipper bloodline, thank you. And also Zi Xioning, Song Yun. I, Su Yan, will always remember this friendship. I will never forget it. Su Yan's eyes shone with a light that was as sharp as lightning and filled with a powerful fighting spirit. It's time to go. He also charged forward fiercely, his hair fluttering behind him as he charged into the demonic mist without looking back. Presently, Brilliant City had been turned upside down. The battle in outer space was so intense that it was suffocating. Although the place of battle was somewhat far from the Big Dipper star region, the world-incinerating light that filled a corner of the universe was able to penetrate through and shake one's spirit. The battle was too terrifying. It was as if a corner of the universe had exploded. All kinds of world-destroying divine energies collided one after another. It was like fireworks and firecrackers in the cosmos. The battle between the old Star Lord and the Ancestral Hall's Vice Hall Master shook the vast star field and spread to other star regions. Some experts had rushed over to watch the battle and were alarmed. They hadn't expected the old Star Lord of the Big Dipper bloodline to be so powerful and had already stepped into the realm of the gods. Su Yan has disappeared. The Ancestral Hall's losses are too great. Could it be that a major powerhouse is hiding in the wilderness? It's very likely. Perhaps the Ancestral Hall's experts were too tyrannical and caused him to be dissatisfied. That's why he took action to wipe out the Ancestral Hall's forces. Who is Su Yan? How did he offend the ancestral hall? All the major powers were trembling. A series of major events were related to Su Yan. They were very suspicious of Su Yan's identity, especially the major powerhouse hiding in the wilderness. Now that he had been exposed, how could the ancestral hall let the matter rest? In the past, it was always the ancestral hall bullying the weak. Now, so many of their experts had been killed with a single slap, and 6 of their battleships had exploded. The losses were too great. How could the ancestral hall swallow this resentment so easily? Su Yan had already charged into the Devil Misty Forbidden Zone. He directly took out the broken cauldron and rushed towards the Black Mountain. He didn't encounter any accidents along the way. He rushed to the Black Mountain and used the Big Dipper fist to open the Big Dipper Palace. Su Yan took out the immortal jade hanging around his neck and opened the door to the interior of the immortal mountain. I wonder where I'll end up if I walk from here. Su Yan walked in step by step. His mind was relaxed. Since he had come here, there was no danger. He wasn't in a hurry to leave. He sat down cross-legged and circulated the initial sutra. He started to absorb the Big Dipper ancestral veins' energy to nourish his injured body. With the help of the Big Dipper ancestral vein, Su Yan's recovery speed was extremely fast. In fact, a hint of joy flashed in Su Yan's eyes. This was because the dragon totem had also awakened and started to absorb the Big Dipper ancestral veins' energy. Weak, as the dragon totem breathed, a massive amount of the Big Dipper ancestral veins' origin divine power was drawn out. It was like a bottomless pit, a super glutton. Its absorption speed was 10,000 times faster than Su Yan's. As it breathed in and out, the dragon totem blazed a little more. The divine power inside it started to be replenished. Absorb. After witnessing the dragon totem's might, Su Yan was very attentive. With this item in hand, Great Tao realm experts wouldn't be able to block the might of a single punch from him. However, the amount of divine power required for the dragon totem to erupt once was truly vast. But for such a super powerful killing weapon, even if it could only erupt once, it was enough to destroy Great Tao realm experts. With the dragon totem protecting me, I also have the strength to roam the universe. I won't encounter too much danger. Su Yan became even more confident. After all, adventuring in the vast universe and searching for the whereabouts of his clansmen wasn't an easy task. Without the corresponding strength, how could it be possible? I wonder if the dragon totem can become stronger again, reaching the level where it can kill the ancestral palace's deputy palace master. Su Yan mumbled in his heart. What if it could kill Zhu Yang with a single punch? Then it would really be extremely powerful. What exactly was the limit of the dragon totem? Right now, it was still an unknown. In fact, Su Yan couldn't even figure out what state the dragon totem was in. Could it be just a kind of treasure? However, Su Yan still felt that the dragon totem wasn't as simple as it seemed on the surface. What kind of treasure is this? At this moment, Su Yan took out the treasure that Zi Xiaoning had given him. It was a white silk scarf that was made of soft material and had a refreshing fragrance. There were also wisps of Zi Xiaoning's alluring body fragrance. This should be her personal item. Su Yan inspected the silk scarf for a while and was a little surprised. The silk scarf's material was very sturdy. This kind of silk was definitely not ordinary. He took out the silk scarf and it rapidly enlarged. The moment it landed on Su Yan's body, the mysterious silk scarf became one with him. At this moment, it was as if Su Yan had disappeared. He shook his body, as if he didn't exist in this world. He acknowledged that he was standing in an independent world, a spatial treasure. Su Yan was taken aback. This was an extremely rare spatial treasure that could isolate his aura. This way, even Great Tao realm experts wouldn't be able to see his true appearance. This is indeed what I want the most. A hint of a smile appeared on Su Yan's face. As long as I can hide my identity, the ancestral hall probably won't be able to find me in a short period of time. He calmed down and waited for the dragon totem to stop absorbing energy. Only then did Su Yan open his eyes. Su Yan's eyes looked towards the dome as he slowly stood up. Looking at the dome, he saw an extremely majestic spatial scene. A corner of the territory that was lit up seemed to be formed by countless space-times. It was like a condensed, superimposed space. I'm going to leave. Back then, Grandpa Dalong sent me away from here. Now that I'm back, I'm here to look for you guys. Su Yin couldn't help but feel agitated. He charged toward the dome and entered a mysterious space-time. It was as if he had barged into a vast space-time. Close your eyes and charge forward. I'm coming. Goodbye, Big Dipper Star region. I'll be back. Chapter 368. I'm here. Su Yin charged into the dome as if he had barged into a vast sea of time and space. As soon as he arrived, Su Yin felt his hair stand on end because the sea of time and space he had barged into was vast and boundless. However, the sea of time and space was densely covered with cracks, as if it had been slashed by a killing sword. Every time and space that was separated, it was filled with the fluctuations of the vast starry sky. It was like a real sea of stars that appeared in Su Yan's eyes. However, with his current primordial spirit cultivation, it was not enough to see the whole picture. Where in the universe are we going to jump to? But I don't have the coordinates. What if I run into a dangerous, forbidden area? Won't I die? He had passed to the 99 steps, and the final step was right in front of him. Su Yin did not want to make any mistakes. Let me out quickly. Iron Rooster transmitted his voice. Su Yin shifted him out. He was breaking out of his shell, silver radiance overflowing into the sky. Iron Rooster was stronger than before, and the silver feathers on his body had also grown out a lot. He was like a big rooster with a glowing comb. However, the scene here gave Iron Rooster a fright. He said, "What is this place? Why is there such a terrifying fluctuation of time and space?" Su Yin quickly told Iron Rooster what had happened. He quickly said, "What are you thinking about? It must be the strongest ancient star. Let's cross to the vicinity, and maybe we can sneak in." Su Yin naturally wanted to go too. He even wanted to go to the Z-Way segmentum. Look here, purple chi overflows the sky, and auspicious signs are everywhere. Maybe this is the Z-Way segmentum. Iron Rooster did not understand. After all, this was the mysterious heavenly mountain, one of the 9 great celestial mountains. Only by grasping the spatial coordinates of the heavenly mountain could one cross to any place they wanted to go. It was equivalent to an extremely terrifying space-time array. Let's go quickly. Su Yin wanted to continue choosing, but he realized that the longer he stayed here, the faintly felt like his lifespan was being stripped away and he would die of old age immediately. This made him not dare to stay here any longer. He jumped into the edge of a purple space-time tunnel with Iron Rooster, hoping to reach their destination. The universe was vast and boundless. Between the segmentum, only the strong were qualified to cross. Even with a space-crossing array, it was difficult to reach their destination in a short time. A force that was qualified to cross domains? It was too little. There were countless geniuses in these star areas. However, they were like a flood in the universe. All of them wanted to go to the strongest ancient star to cultivate. After all, the strongest life, ancient star had the most abundant spiritual energy. The cultivators in the strongest life, ancient star, would have a greater chance of becoming famous. Right now, the younger generation in the universe had all started to climb toward the Great Tao realm in their cultivation. However, there were very few young overlords who could cross over to this realm. It was like the great waves washing away the sand. There would always be a limit to the number of experts who could soar into the clouds. However, in recent years, news of young overlords appearing and disappearing in the various major star fields of the universe had spread throughout the universe. The older generation had a premonition that the struggle for supremacy among the younger generation was about to begin. When the time came, the supremes of the various star fields would gather, and a true battle between dragons and tigers would unfold. Various ancient aristocratic families appeared frequently. Giants who had been hibernating in famous mountains and great rivers also awakened. Various regions of the universe and places of fortune opened one after another. Ingjia of the younger generation. He was like a flood passing through, rushing toward various training grounds to temper himself. If one wanted to stand out among the thousands of geniuses, relying on resources alone was far from enough. In the various great universes, geniuses would often appear and young overlords would go on expeditions. If one were to talk about the famous training grounds in the universe, there would be many mysterious and ancient stone pagodas. Geniuses from various races would come here to train first. For example, there was no one in charge of this starry sky. No one had set up a sect here. The main reason was that the spiritual energy in this starry sky was relatively weak. However, this place was very popular, and great beings from various races would frequently come here. They would wait here every day to see if they could find any good seedlings. I didn't expect the stone pagoda to manifest its imprint last time to attract so many young fellows to try their luck. This starry sky was close to the Z-Way segmentum. It was a completely red planet with large plains everywhere. It was filled with an ancient and desolate aura. However, on this planet, elders from various races and universe masters would frequently appear. Their eyes were all looking at the gray stone pagoda, standing tall on the plains. The stone pagoda's aura was very ancient. It had existed for a very long time. It was said that this stone pagoda had existed since the ancient times. This stone pagoda wasn't very tall, but it exuded a magnificent wave. It sat on the plains, and most of the people nearby were young cultivators from various great powers in the universe. They were all preparing to challenge the stone pagoda. Anyone could enter this stone pagoda, and great beings from the older generation were no exception. However, as time passed, those who could obtain opportunities inside were all from the younger generation. The older generation didn't attempt to challenge the stone pagoda anymore because there was a certain mortality rate. After all, it's very difficult to obtain the imprint of the entire stone pagoda. Various great powers have given up. This time, although there are geniuses from nearby star fields, it's very difficult for them to last a day in the stone pagoda. That's right. There are too few great beings who can obtain the imprint of the entire stone pagoda. Rumor has it that Emperor Nan crossed domains to come here, but unfortunately, he was sealed inside and out. No one knows how many days he stayed in the stone pagoda. There were great beings from various great powers guarding the surrounding dozens of star fields. They were hoping that a genius who could survive 3 days would appear and be accepted into their sect. However, even if they did appear, it would be very difficult for them to get their turn. Over the years, there have been many geniuses who relied on the stone pagoda to make a name for themselves in the universe. Suddenly, a heavy aura filled the starry skies. The entire crimson plains began to tremble. The great beings from various races who were sitting cross-legged here opened their eyes. Their eyes were filled with shock. They looked up into the starry skies and discovered that a heavy aura of space and time, so heavy that it could shake the world, was surging towards them. At first, this aura wasn't particularly strong, but as the aura of space and time thickened, it was as if a corner of the world had been opened. A vast river of space and time flowed out, emitting a magnificent aura of the world. What kind of existence has descended into the world? How can its aura be so terrifying? Some of the great lords were stunned. In front of such a magnificent power of space and time, they appeared small and insignificant. It was as if the aura had filled up a vast star field's power of space and time. It was peerlessly grand and difficult to fathom. Kacha! A piercing sound rang out as layers of the starry skies collapsed. It was as if energy gushed out from the ends of the universe, shattering a corner of the starry skies and opening a vast domain gate. Someone's here. The people around turned pale as they saw the cracked starry skies. It was as if at the edge of the universe, a river of space and time had appeared on its own. It was a blurry shadow that was walking towards them. Every step was like stepping on the river of space and time. Every step was like crossing a star field. Just like that, step by step, he crossed over towards this part of the starry skies. What a terrifying existence, crossing a star field with every step. He seems to be standing at the edge of the universe and is crossing over here. Is he an almighty? An old woman with a dignified aura was shocked. This was a great figure of the Z-Way segmentum. At this moment, her attitude was extremely respectful. Standing in the void, it was as if she was welcoming a great figure who had stepped out from the river of space and time. This scene also made the great beings from the nearby great forces look solemn. They hurriedly walked over and stood beside Meng Ying. They bowed and bent their knees to welcome this mysterious and great existence. Let's go over quickly. This must be a terrifying giant. The young geniuses gathered near the stone tower rushed over one after another. Their attitudes were sincere as they followed a group of older generation experts. One had to know that Meng Ying was here. She was the great elder of the Z-Way segmentum. Even with her status, she had to wait quietly for the arrival of an expert. It was obvious how powerful this person was. There were also young disciples who awakened the potential in their bodies, hoping to gain the favor of this expert and be accepted as a disciple. It's very likely to be an almighty. Someone speculated. All the hair on their body stood on end. An almighty was too terrifying. Even the peak forces did not want to provoke a terrifying giant. But now, an almighty had come? This made the younger generation shocked and excited. What if they could become the disciple of an almighty? Their names would probably resound throughout the universe in a short time. What a terrifying method. Could it really be an almighty? Meng Ying stood at the front, her heart full of shock. She had already sensed the waves of space-time energy that came from the depths of the universe. She could not sense the existence of the array. It was as if a terrifying existence had used some method to open the door to the star field and step on the river of space and time to arrive. This method was really terrifying and heaven-defying. This was a mysterious expert that they respected and even had to pay respects to. At this moment, they were having a headache. Every step they took across the river of space and time was like being deprived of endless lifespan, rapidly dying of old age. This was because the distance they had crossed was quite far. If not for the protection of the space-time power, they would not have survived. This was because the distance they had crossed was too far. There was a terrifying space-time power. This miraculous journey gave Su Yin a deep impression of his comprehension of space. He even discovered a great power of time. It was very shocking. It seemed to be able to reverse life and death. I think we're almost there. Su Yin did not dare to comprehend too deeply. He was afraid that he would really sink into the silence of time and quickly die of old age. They're coming. Su Yin was getting closer and closer to them. Only God knew how far he had crossed. From far to near, he brought with him an abnormally terrifying aura of time. He filled the entire Crimson Plains, making everyone feel reverence. I sense a power of time. It's like a great existence is awakening. Meng Ying seemed especially excited. Her old face was like a blooming chrysanthemum. After all, she did not even dare to think about having a relationship with such a terrifying giant. In the Crimson Plains, the older generation tidied up their clothes, hoping to leave a good impression on the senior. Buzz! The shadow finally rushed out. The vast space-time aura had transported him here. Hence, when he arrived, space-time light rained down from the sky, causing this great plain to seem as if it had frozen. Even time seemed to have stopped. Greetings, Senior. Meng Ying and the others bowed in unison. Their attitudes were respectful, and their expressions were solemn. They looked like they were listening to his teachings. No need for formalities. Miserly Rooster had his wings on his back and his head held high. He had the demeanor of a peerless expert. He said arrogantly, "Are these coordinates in the Z-Way segmentum? If not, we can only cross space-time again." Chapter 369. Su Yin muttered in his heart, "How did I meet this old thing?" Thinking back to his encounter in Alcade City, Su Yin was furious. After all, some of Meng Ying's words were still unforgettable to Su Yin. Miser's arrogant appearance made Su Yan's heart stir. Anyway, he had already left the Big Dipper starfield, and he had Zi Xioning's treasures to protect him. Meng Ying and the others couldn't see through his true identity. Su Yin felt that it was better to create a fake identity to scare off the experts of the various forces and understand the current situation of the universe. Perhaps he could find out the whereabouts of the people of the burial region. After all, Meng Ying wasn't an ordinary person. He was the great elder of the Z-Way starfield. Whether it was identity or status, he was very impressive. Some of the older generation experts were surprised because as the space-time fluctuations dissipated, Su Yan's appearance was no longer terrifying. They found that this was a young man with a tall and straight figure and full of vitality. This was clearly a young man, not a big shot. These old experts obviously noticed, and their expressions were somewhat awkward and even ugly. They were all famous experts in this part of the universe, and now they were bowing to a young man. This was really unacceptable. Looks like we've come to the right place. Miser put on an act, with his wings behind his back and his head held high. He looked very confident and arrogant as he said, "I haven't been in the world for many years, and the world has changed. The starfield's appearance has also changed, and it has deviated a little." Meng Ying's expression changed. She knew some rumors. It was said that as time passed, the starfield's appearance gradually deviated from its original trajectory, but very few people knew about this. Now that Miser had said this, she felt that their origin must be very great, and there must be a terrifying existence behind them. "Isn't that a chicken?" A young man looked as if he had seen a ghost. He saw a big rooster standing on Su Yan's shoulder with few feathers. Some of the old experts' expressions changed as they glared at their clansmen. They still hadn't figured out their origins, so they couldn't rashly offend them. Impudent! The miserly rooster was enraged. Silver flames surged all over his body, and he involuntarily exuded a majestic aura, as if he had been in a high position for a long time. He scolded, "And the godly phoenix, what nonsense are you spouting? Do you want to die?" Some of the young people present were stunned. The divine phoenix? It was indeed a rooster. Meng Ying and the rest shuddered in fear. They carefully examined this good-looking rooster, but they couldn't see the shadow of the divine phoenix. They muttered in their hearts, "Where did this person come from?" The divine phoenix was a supreme living being. "Everyone, please don't treat him like an outsider. He has been injured for a long time and needs time to recover." Su Yan said loudly, "I'm new here. Sorry to have disturbed everyone. My name is Xia Kunlun. Greetings, fellow Taoists." The surroundings were in an uproar. Everyone was wondering if there were any experts surnamed Xia in the cosmos. They felt that this young man wasn't simple. The essence blood in his body was exuberant, and they couldn't see through his depths. However, if this rooster was really a godly phoenix, then it would be terrifying. This meant that this young man's identity was not simple. "Xia Kunlun, Master said that after you came out, you should listen to me," the miserly rooster said. "Let's go to the Z-Way segmentum for a walk now. I wonder if the seeds I planted with my master back then have grown into sacred medicines." The group was stunned. Planting some seeds and waiting for them to mature? How many years would that take? Who had such means? However, the scene of them crossing over just now was really shocking. They couldn't help but believe it. Seeing that Su Yan was about to leave, Meng Ying hurriedly walked up and smiled apologetically. "Fellow Taoists, please wait. I am the great elder of the Z-Way segmentum and am very familiar with it. Is there anything I can help you with?" "You." The miserly rooster glanced at Meng Ying. This gaze made her feel a little uncomfortable. After all, she was an important figure of the Z-Way sect. This rooster seemed to be looking down on her. "You can't," the miserly rooster said arrogantly. "Back then, Master and I went to the Immortal Mountain Range and planted some seeds. The Immortal Mountain Range is not a place you can go. I guess that after a long time of accumulation, it should have evolved into a top-grade sacred medicine. Junior brother, these sacred medicines are not bad. They are worth spending some time to find." Some people's faces darkened. A few sacred medicines were worth spending time on. There were a few old experts here who almost burst into tears. If they could find the location of the sacred medicine, they would be willing to spend 100 years to find it. "How is this possible?" someone said in surprise. "The Immortal Mountain Range is a forbidden area. The stronger one is, the easier it is to be suppressed. That is a forbidden area for life. No one can enter. When did it become a forbidden area?" Duke Tai was stunned. He said suspiciously. At the end of the ancient universe era, the immortal mountain range was still a holy land for cultivation. It was a place where the ancient gods went into seclusion. It was not a forbidden area. What era is it now? There was an uproar all around. They really didn't know about these rumors. However, from the words of this rooster, he had lived for a universe era. They found it hard to believe. Meng Ying, on the other hand, paid more attention to this matter. She knew some secret information. She also knew that at the end of the ancient universe era, there was chaos in the immortal mountain range. Many people died, and a large number of ancient gods died. It was because too many gods had died. Over time, the immortal mountain range became a forbidden area for life. This was because there were great Tao-killing marks left behind by the gods before they died. They gradually formed an extremely terrifying domain that could trap and kill experts. That was something that happened during the ancient era. This rooster couldn't have lived for a universe era, right? What was the origin of this master that they were talking about? Could it be that he was really a mysterious almighty? My two Tao friends, the immortal mountain range is not so easy to wander around now. Meng Ying smiled and said, our Ziwei sect has many outstanding disciples. If you need help, you can ask. I will choose some outstanding female disciples for you to order around. Hearing this, Miser Rooster said calmly, I say, junior brother, Master said that the Ziwei segmentum is full of outstanding talents and beautiful women. This time, when you go out to train, do you have a Taoist companion that needs a mission? If you bring back a few pearls, Master might be satisfied. Suyin couldn't help but beat the cheapskate up. Meng Ying was even more surprised. I wonder which famous master's disciple is this little friend Xia? There are many pearls in our Ziwei segmentum. Even our sect's Ziwei Saintus is here. Master's cultivation is very profound. I don't know what level he is at now. Su Yan replied. Master travels to the various major star regions all year round and is always elusive. This time, I came to the Ziwei segmentum because Master sent me here and let me go on a long journey to gain experience. Could he really be an almighty? The people around were shocked. They were very curious about Su Yan's identity. After all, the method just now was too shocking. Which ordinary person could use it? Little friend Xiao's master must be a hermit master. Meng Ying smiled and said, I know a young man who also received the inheritance of an almighty. This person is extraordinary. When the time comes, I will introduce you to him. You can get to know each other and become friends. Su Yan's expression didn't change, but he knew very well that Meng Ying must be talking about Shueguan. Who is it? Tell me your name. The cheapskate said with interest, Maybe I know him. Shueguan. Meng Ying replied. There was a commotion. During this time, Shueguan had made a name for himself in the universe. It was rumored that a supreme being wanted to take him in as a warrior, but Shueguan seemed to have tactfully declined. It was clear that he was ambitious. After all, he had received the inheritance of an almighty, and his future would be extraordinary. Shueguan? The cheapskate said in surprise. Which almighty is this? I have never heard of such a name. Meng Ying said awkwardly. The disciple of this almighty I'm talking about is Shueguan. As for who this almighty is, I have no idea. Generation skipping inheritance. The cheapskate snorted. I thought it was a living almighty. Is this Shueguan very strong? Of course. Shueguan is the most outstanding among the young overlords that rose recently. He even obtained the Stone Pagoda's imprint in the Stone Pagoda. Someone couldn't help but remind, those who can obtain such an imprint are the top overlords of the younger generation. They have the combat strength to be revered in the same generation. Everyone nodded. They were very convinced of the young expert who could obtain the Stone Pagoda's imprint. Su Yan looked ahead. At the end of the plains, there was a stone pagoda. It didn't look tall, but it was filled with majestic aura. The gray pagoda was filled with the traces of time. It was unknown how long it had existed. What is this? Su Yan thought to himself. Could this stone pagoda be a type of trial? It was similar to the Big Dipper pagoda. A young expert who can obtain the stone pagoda's imprint is not bad. The cheapskate said calmly, Junior brother, go and explore. If you can obtain an imprint, It will be of great use in the future. The surrounding people were stunned. The cheapskate's tone was too casual. How could anyone obtain an imprint just because they wanted it? This wasn't an ordinary trial. Even some young overlords couldn't obtain the stone pagoda's imprint. It was too difficult to obtain one, but the cheapskate's casual tone made them want to laugh. Although they didn't know if Xia Kunlun was a disciple of an almighty, even if he was, he might not be able to obtain the stone pagoda's imprint. If a disciple of an almighty goes through the stone pagoda, he will naturally be able to obtain an imprint. Meng Ying smiled and said, "Little friend Xia, this old one will congratulate you in advance. However, you'll have to wait for a while. The stone pagoda can only accommodate a limited number of people. You'll have to wait for half a day before you can attempt the stone pagoda. Junior brother, when the time comes, use your full strength. Don't be careless." The cheapskate reminded, this stone pagoda's imprint is related to a type of inheritance. In the distant chaos ruins, the stone pagoda's imprint is a pass. The cultivators present were enlightened. They only knew about the stone pagoda's imprint, but they didn't know what it was related to. It was no wonder that the young overlords of the various major starfields wanted to obtain a pass. Buzz. At this moment, a holy aura spread out from the entrance of the stone pagoda. A graceful woman floated out. Her clothes fluttered in the wind. Her hair was black, and her snow-white skin emitted divine light. She was like a pearl that made all the other women present pale in comparison. Su Yan's heart turned cold. He didn't expect to meet Saint Lady Ziwei. However, Saint Lady Ziwei was now in the quasi-Dao realm. She is indeed the Saint Lady of the Ziwei sect. It is said that she has cultivated the Ziwei heavenly disc and displayed it in the distant Big Dipper. It is said that Crepe Myrtle's sect has produced a holy body of Tying. She is likely to be conferred the title of Saintess in the future. Crepe Myrtle's sect is really lucky. They have produced two amazing disciples. It is said that many Star Zone sovereigns have come to visit. I wonder who will take this pearl. That is the sacred body of Lunar. She has the potential to become a supreme being. Her future is limitless. I am afraid that only a supreme being like Emperor Nen is qualified to take it. Saint Lady Ziwei sighed softly. She didn't get the stone pagoda's imprint, which showed how terrifying Shuiguan was. He could even take the stone pagoda's imprint on his first adventure. This is the Saint Lady of the Ziwei sect? Cheapskate looked at her for a while and said, "Junior brother, what do you think? She might be able to catch your eye." Saint Lady Ziwei's face darkened. She was faintly unhappy. She definitely felt uncomfortable with such a scrutinizing gaze. Meng Ying hurriedly transmitted his voice to tell her Su Yan's identity. "This is little friend Xia Kunlun." Meng Ying smiled and introduced them. "Little friend Xia, this is the Saint Lady of the Ziwei sect. So, it is Taoist brother Xia." Saint Lady Ziwei suddenly smiled. Her temperament was holy and otherworldly. She was like a fairy who had fallen into the mortal world. Her jade-like body emitted clouds. She smiled softly and said, "Little sister Meng Silin greets Taoist brother." "Haha, junior sister, there is no need to be so polite," Su Yan said with a friendly expression. "The Ziwei sect is indeed the #1 sect in the Ziwei segmentum. It is rare to see such a beautiful woman." Chapter 370. I've just arrived and am preparing to travel around. Su Yan looked at Saint Ziwei and said, "As for this stone pagoda, I also want to see it." "Junior sister, did you fail just now? Is this stone pagoda that difficult?" "For Taoist brother Xia, it really isn't that difficult." Saint Ziwei was a peerless beauty with a gentle smile on her face. She smiled gently and said, "When the time comes, I will definitely see brother Xia's glory. It's said that there's an inheritance in this stone pagoda. I don't have the ability to get it, so it depends on brother Xia." Meng Ying smiled with satisfaction. After all, Meng Silin was the saintess of the Crepe Myrtle sect. Her words and actions were enough to represent the sect. If Xia Kunlun was really the disciple of a powerful being, then the Crepe Myrtle sect would treat him with the highest respect. I heard them say that the holy body of Lunar has appeared. Cheapskate Rooster had his wings behind his back. With the demeanor of a master, he loudly said, "The great moon saint physique is qualified to evolve into the sovereign physique. This should be the strongest physique in your crepe myrtle sect. Does the great moon ancient scripture already have a successor?" Hearing this, Meng Ying said, "You are indeed knowledgeable. The holy body of Lunar has been accepted as the last disciple of our sect's ancestor. She has been in seclusion for a few years and will probably come out soon. In recent years, how many sovereign bodies have there been in the younger generation of the universe?" Tai Rooster asked. "The major sects won't easily leak the news of sovereign bodies." Meng Ying smiled and said, "After all, sovereign bodies can only unleash their strongest power after comprehending the great Tao. Now, the major sects won't easily let their disciples go far away. Isn't there a descendant of Shueguan with a sovereign body? There's even news that he has 2 sovereign bodies." An old cultivator next to him asked curiously, "I heard that Shueguan was almost killed in the Battle of Big Dipper. Is this true or false? I heard that Saintess Z Wei saved his life back then." Meng Ying's eyelids twitched. He didn't expect that more than half a year had passed, and there was still news floating in the universe. This was also because with the rise of Shueguan, his past had surfaced. The dragon and phoenix Dharma idol had truly shocked all the major powers. Now, everyone wanted to know what kind of physique Shueguan had, and even how strong he would be when he comprehended the great Tao in the future. This little bastard, who knew that he could crawl back up and even have the battle prowess of a young overlord. Meng Ying's face was gloomy and uncertain. She was really worried that after Yi Xiyan came out, she would find out about this matter and have some disagreements with Shueguan. "That's not it." Saintess Z Wei chuckled and said, "Shueguan's battle prowess is extremely strong. Back then, it took 2 people working together to force him to retreat. One of them even has a supreme body. One of the leaders has already died. Even if he survives, he will not be strong enough. After all, Shueguan is infinitely close to the great Tao. Soon, he will be the young supreme of the Big Dipper starfield." The experts of the older generation were speechless, joining hands with the supreme being body. Even they couldn't stop Shueguan. This was tantamount to showing just how strong Shueguan was now. If that's the case, the recently risen genius should belong to Shueguan? Miser Rooster asked again. "That's right. After all, he has the dragon and phoenix Dharma idol, and even received the inheritance of a supreme being. He also mastered the secret techniques of the heavens, and even came into contact with the great Tao." Meng Ying nodded and looked at Su Yan. "Little friend Xia, when things here are over, I think I should ask Saintess to accompany you to the Ziwei sacred region. Maybe you could see Shueguan there." "That's great. With junior sister accompanying me, I won't be lonely on the road." Su Yan smiled and said, "I also want to see how strong Shueguan is. This is the first time I've heard of the dragon and phoenix Dharma idol. I won't let you down." Saintess Ziwei's clothes fluttered in the wind. She smiled and said, "It's said that the Cosmos Business Alliance is also organizing an extremely high-standard auction. I believe you will definitely gain something from your trip to the Ziwei segmentum." Miser Rooster was surprised. There was such a Dharma idol in the world? Su Yan pinched his fingers. He had a huge sum of money that he didn't have time to look at. After all, Han Jin was the supreme elder of the Big Dipper clan. His interspatial ring was now with Su Yan, who knew how many good things were in it. Perhaps Su Yan still didn't know that the Big Dipper clan was in an uproar. When Han Jin saw that Bamboo Moon was rising, he wanted to defect and escape. He was really afraid that Bamboo Moon would deal with him. Before he left, he took a lot of the clan's resources, and now they were all with Su Yan. The old Star Lord was very open-minded. Although he had already given the order to expel Su Yan, he still treated him as a disciple of his own clan. The old Star Lord didn't think much of those resources being taken away by Su Yan. Resources that could make even the supreme elder of the Big Dipper clan feel pained. One could imagine what kind of huge wealth it was. Oh my God! Su Yan's face twitched slightly. He found Han Jin's interspatial ring from the Phoenix hairpin space. When he saw the scene inside, he almost couldn't control himself and roared out. The entire interspatial ring was filled to the brim. This was a terrifyingly huge sum of money. Was this the wealth that only great Tao realm experts had? Su Yin had an urge to vomit blood. The 5 great Tao realm experts of the Ancestral Hall were all turned into ashes by the dragon totem. Their interspatial treasures were naturally destroyed as well. Otherwise, Su Yin would have struck it rich. What exactly is the divine spiritual mountain range? Su Yin transmitted his voice. He discovered that Miser Rooster was openly asking about the divine spiritual mountain range. He seemed to be very curious about this place. I reckon that Shueguan's place of inheritance is here. Miser Rooster's reply caused Su Yin to clench his fist involuntarily. The initial fist was in the divine spiritual mountain range. It's hard to say now. In the previous universe era, the divine spiritual mountain range was also an extremely powerful holy land for comprehending the Tao. Miser Rooster replied via voice transmission. Since Shueguan has come to the Z-Way segmentum now, this means that he will continue to receive inheritances. When we have time, let's take a look around the divine spiritual mountain range. We might be able to discover something fishy. Su Yan's eyes flashed. He didn't know where Bao Kai was now. He was prepared to settle down first and understand this universe. When the time was right, he would then investigate the whereabouts of the burial region's lineage. If he were to investigate now, it would probably attract the attention of some people. It seems that the people from the stone pagoda have all come out. Saintess Z-Wei's beautiful eyes looked towards Su Yin. She smiled lightly. Brother Xia, it's time for you to show off your skills. Su Yin wasn't prepared to hide his strength. Only by using his full strength could Meng Ying and the others trust his identity more. When Su Yin approached the stone pagoda, he felt a trace of heavy pressure. This stone pagoda didn't look very tall, but it was filled with the aura of a wild beast. Su Yin walked to the front. Along the way, many young people followed behind him. Their breathing was heavy and their legs were weak. It was as if they were being suppressed by the stone pagoda's power. And Meng Ying was observing Su Yin. She nodded slightly. Just this aura alone was extraordinary. Can she obtain the imprint? Saint Z-Wei was just saying some polite words. She really doubted Su Yan's ability and wondered if he was worth roping in. Let's wait and see. Meng Ying had just finished speaking when she raised her head and looked into the distance. She saw that in the depths of the starry sky, there was a black mass. It was as if black waves were spreading one after another. What is that? Many people exclaimed. They saw the rolling black waves sweeping over, causing the entire crimson plains to tremble. What a terrifying aura. The cultivators present paled. This was definitely a scene of a great sect traveling. The black sea of clouds that filled the starry sky spat out a jet-black battleship. It laid horizontally on the crimson plains, causing the void to shatter into pieces. From the battleship, shadows with gloomy auras walked out one after another. They stood in the darkness, as if they were in purgatory. It was suffocating. It's the experts of the underworld faction. Could it be that the Ingjia of the underworld faction's younger generation is here to train? The people here discussed animatedly. Su Yan's heart sank, and a trace of killing intent flashed in his eyes. In the past, he had seen with his own eyes an ancestor of the underworld faction wantonly slaughtering and even swallowing the experts of the burial region. Although he was killed by the old leader, Su Yin could not forget this grudge. The Ancestral Hall and the underworld faction were the greatest enemies of the burial region. They had never given up on hunting down the burial region. The underworld faction was a very special faction. It was said that this faction hibernated underground and devoured the Yin energy to cultivate. Their way of doing things was extremely bloody and cruel. Many factions did not dare to provoke them. Boom! A thunderous sound rang out. It was a young man whose entire body was pale gold. When he walked, the void rumbled with every step he took. His body was filled with terrifying energy, and every move he made was filled with an extremely strong deterrent force. Cultivators of the same generation were shocked. This was definitely the young king of the underworld faction. His battle strength was shocking, and his race was born with a strong physique. They had always aimed to be indestructible. It's him, he's Inluan. Someone was surprised. When I met him last year, he hadn't cultivated an indestructible body. Now, he's showing signs of a golden body. Is Inluan? Someone was shocked. Cultivating an indestructible body? It's as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Only a handful of the underworld faction's younger generation can do it. Do you know Xian? Inluan is Xian's younger brother, and he's also the son of the underworld faction's ancestor. The surrounding people gasped. Xian is the overlord of the underworld faction's younger generation. He's extremely powerful. Rumor has it that he cultivated an indestructible body, and his physical strength is unrivaled in the universe. He's definitely a young paragon. That's right, Xian's battle strength is extremely strong. Rumor has it that after the ancestor of the underworld faction died, Xian used his father's flesh and blood to cultivate an indestructible body. Some people's hair stood on end. Devouring his father's flesh and blood? That was too cruel. However, everyone knew that the underworld faction really liked to devour ancient corpses to strengthen their bodies. The heavenly technique they cultivated was a bit different, and their goal was to cultivate an indestructible body. Rumor has it that the bodies of the underworld faction's experts were comparable to ultimate treasures and were extremely hard to deal with. Saintess Ziwei. Inluan's body was tall, and his pale gold skin was filled with powerful energy waves. He walked up and laughed. I didn't expect to meet the Saintess here. Senior Meng Ying is also here. Junior Inluan greets Elder. Saintess Ziwei nodded slightly and said, You're here to challenge the stone tower, right? This stone tower focuses on the physical body. Perhaps you'll gain something. Meng Ying was a bit surprised. It seems that the indestructible body is already showing signs. If you cultivate it further, you'll definitely be able to cultivate a golden body. This stone tower is very suitable for tempering you. Hearing this, Inluan smiled proudly. I have to thank my elder brother for this. He has already cultivated an indestructible body. He used the remaining jar of Evil Clan's treasure blood to refine for me. I had a great opportunity, and now I've cultivated an indestructible body. I have to say that the Evil Clan's bloodline is very strong. Meng Ying only nodded and did not say much. After all, the faction of the Underworld faction was not extinct, and Inluan was not strong enough for him to take seriously. Inluan, go ahead. The faction will give you the appropriate resources according to your progress. An expert of the Dark Underworld clan came over and said coldly, Remember, feel the power of the bloodline in your body. There's a trace of the bloodline of an expert in the bloodline of the burial region. If you can feel it, you will benefit greatly. Yes, Elder. I'll definitely refine the Evil Clan's treasure blood and use it for myself. Inluan was high-spirited. He had cultivated an indestructible body and was heavily nurtured by his family. All of you, get out of the way. Inluan's aura was domineering as he strode toward the stone tower. His powerful aura caused the cultivators heading toward the stone tower to tremble in fear. They were forced to make a path for him. I'm talking. Can't you hear me? Inluan's eyes turned cold as he looked at the man in white who was still walking toward the stone tower. The anger in his body was about to burst out, and a trace of killing intent shot out from his eyes. Who are you? Chapter 371. There was no sound of discussion. The entire plane was silent. First of all, the Dark Nether race was extremely powerful. It was a famous peak power in the universe with many experts and overlords among the younger generation. Almost no one dared to provoke the Dark Nether race. But Su Yan's words stunned them. He was too domineering, berating them directly. But when they saw who had spoken, their expressions changed. Xia Kunlun was suspected to be the disciple of a supreme being, so he probably wasn't afraid of the Dark Nether race. Saintess Ziwei was about to speak, but was stopped by Meng Ying. She also wanted to see how strong Su Yan was. If he couldn't even suppress Inluan, how could he confront the young overlords of the major starfields? The expressions of the Dark Nether race experts darkened. How dare he berate Ingji of their race? They hadn't encountered such a person for many years. Unruly thing, are you talking to me? Inluan's face turned ashen. He was tall and strong, and his body was covered in a faint golden light. He was filled with Dali's strength. His divine light tore through the void as he stared at Su Yan. His words caused the blood of the surrounding people to boil. They were shocked. Inluan's physical body was extremely powerful, but he had only just started cultivating the Vajra body. How strong was Xian? Rumor had it that he was the strongest of the younger generation of the Dark Nether race. Damn it, you're rebelling. The miserly rooster's silver feathers made zhung-zhung sounds, as if a murderous sword was hammering on it. It carried its wings behind its back and raised its chicken head high. It was full of vigor as it angrily said, "Do you think the word rules is something you can say? Junior brother, attack and suppress him for me. Break his legs." The people in the area were dumbfounded as if they had seen a ghost. The older generation was frightened. This tone was too arrogant. Breaking Luan's legs? Humiliating the Dark Nether race like this? Wasn't he afraid of dying without a burial place? Who? Inluan's eyes were wide open and his hair was dancing in the wind. They were a peak race in the universe. Who dared to humiliate them? I was wondering who it was. So it's just a chicken. When he saw the true face of the speaker, Inluan burst into laughter. Even a chicken dares to insult my dark underworld lineage. Has the world changed? Has the world forgotten how powerful the underworld race is? How dare you? An expert from the underworld race looked at Tai Gongji coldly. His body shook with the power of the Great Path, wanting to suppress Tai Gongji. I've even eaten the courage of the Divine King. Who do you think you are? You want to attack me? The miser arrogantly said. But his performance wasn't weak either. Within his silver body, there were hazy silver flames. It was as if there was an extremely terrifying energy hidden within his body, causing the entire plains to tremble. Boom! Everyone in the area was shocked. Everyone could see that Miser had transformed into an immortal phoenix. Behind him, there was a huge shadow that seemed to open its eyes and look down on everything. Could it really be a divine phoenix? Meng Ying's expression was uncertain. She was very close to Tai Gongji and could sense a terrifying and majestic energy. However, she couldn't grasp it or see it clearly. She felt that it was very likely that this was an old monster. Who are you? The dark underworld expert asked with a solemn expression. Who am I? Do I need to tell you who I am? Tai Gongji replied arrogantly. At the same time, he transmitted an urgent message to Su Yan. Damn it, you've overdone it. Run when the situation turns bad. It's not easy to disguise as a supreme expert's descendant. Damn it, if there's really a supreme expert behind you, I'll slap him to death. Su Yan was speechless. He had thought that Tai Gongji was extremely powerful. Unfortunately, he was quite good at acting. The group of experts had been intimidated. Dao friend, please calm down. Meng Ying walked over and pointed out Su Yan's identity. This caused Yin Jingwei's heart to tremble. A supreme expert's descendant? No wonder he was so arrogant. The dark underworld race wouldn't easily provoke such a person. Junior brother, act immediately and wake him up. Who set the rules of the universe? Break his legs. Tai Gongji was full of confidence after seeing Yin Jingwei's somewhat fearful gaze. With Meng Ying as their witness, he believed that Yin Jingwei wouldn't risk offending a supreme expert's descendant. Bastard! Inluan was so angry that he almost exploded. He roared, I don't care who you are. I'll break all 4 of your junior brother's limbs. Buzz! Inluan erupted. His pale, golden body gushed out a billowing source of power. Every strand of his power could shatter mountains. The moment he rushed into the sky, that powerful force seemed capable of tearing the sky and splitting the sea. Inluan extended his palm and chopped toward Su Yan. His entire palm emitted a clanging sound. It was as though a golden sword embryo had been unsheathed and contained a powerful destructive force. No, Yin Jingwei was immediately anxious. He was really worried that Xia Kunlun would be injured by Inlun. If a supreme expert were to appear, the dark underworld race would definitely suffer a great loss. Even when he saw Su Yin raise his palm to strike, Yin Zhongwei almost cursed it out loud. Their dark underworld race's physique was extremely powerful and terrifying. Who would dare to clash head-on with them? I'll cripple your palm first, then break his legs. This scene caused Yin Luan to laugh in anger. His battle strength had already soared to the extreme. His entire palm glowed like a giant bell, containing an unstoppable force that shook the heavens and earth. Xia Kunlun is a supreme expert's disciple. He shouldn't be weaker than Yin Luan, right? Some people felt that Xia Kunlun was full of confidence and should be able to withstand this attack. Su Yan's palm looked as light as a feather, as if he didn't have the strength to truss a chicken. In truth, when his palm struck Yin Luan, a terrifying energy surged within his body, as if a condensed sea of fury was awakening. Su Yan's eyes flashed with killing intent. Back then, he was young and couldn't deal with the dark underworld race's old ancestor. Although he was killed by the old chief, Yin had killed too many experts from the dark underworld race. He still couldn't forget this. This was a blood feud. Now that his own son had appeared, how could Su Yin show mercy? Boom! The two palms collided here. Divine light shot out and terrifying waves surged. A loud noise rang out, shaking the great plains. They didn't seem to be made of flesh and blood, but rather like two great mountains colliding here. This caused everyone in the surroundings to become sluggish. These bodies were truly too powerful, especially Yin Luan's. Kung Xiang's sounds rang out as if they were made of divine materials. Yin Luan's body is too powerful. He has just cultivated the Vajra unbreakable body, but it's actually as hard as a divine weapon. That's right. With such a freakish body, who dares to exchange blows with him? I feel that Xia Kunlun's body is quite powerful. When the palms collided just now, he didn't move at all. His cultivation realm seems to be very high. The people in the surroundings discussed spiritedly. They saw Yin Luan's battle prowess soar wildly. His entire body released a vigorous metal power. He didn't seem like a person, but like a human-shaped weapon. The moment he left his body, he once again attacked Su Yin furiously. Dong! Su Yan's palm formed a fist seal, and the second punch came. It was still calm as usual, and it solidly hit Yin Luan's fist. A huge collision occurred, and divine light shot out towards the sea of clouds, shaking the heavens and the earth. Sound waves were transmitted from Yin Luan's body, and it was as if a large bell was ringing. His third punch also followed, and a large bell rose behind him, ringing. It was almost as if it had merged with his body, and his entire body was filled with tyrannical power. Shot kill. Yin Luan was like a golden bell in the sky. At this moment, he was extremely powerful. He descended from the sky, domineering and overbearing. He wanted to destroy Su Yin. Junior brother is too arrogant. Let's fight for real. The miser shouted angrily. Yin Zhongwei's expression was somewhat ugly. Even if he was the disciple of a supreme expert, Yin Luan was still not weak. Could it be that Su Yin still hadn't used his true strength from the beginning of the battle until now? Wait until I've shaken him to death. Then I'll shake you to death, you wild chicken. Yin Luan was furious. He attacked without holding back. His battle prowess soared to the extreme. The strength of his body erupted in all directions. His body rumbled like a golden bell, causing the void to sink. He wanted to devour Su Yin. Boom! Su Yan's eyes suddenly opened wide. His whole body churned. A terrifying fluctuation rose from him like a majestic true dragon. In an instant, he punched out, causing the heaven and earth to tremble. It was as if a clap of thunder had pierced through the sky. Everyone present gasped. They saw Su Yin rise like a god. His fist caused the great plains to undulate. He bombarded Yin Luan, who was descending from the sky, and sent him flying with a bang. He fell at the end of the plains like a kite with a broken string. Ah! Yin Luan screamed. His entire body cracked into pieces. Even the vigorous essence blood in his body evaporated. He was about to wither to death. Even Saintess Zi Wei was shocked. Just now, Yin Luan was almost killed by Su Yan's fist in a battle of physical strength. Not good, Yin Luan. How are you? Wei hurried over. When he saw Luan, his expression changed greatly. He roared, "What a vicious brat. Don't think that you have a powerful background. I don't dare to hurt you. Old thing, are you sure you want to attack me?" Su Yin said with a strong tone, "I've already let him have 2 moves. If I had used my full strength, he would have died just now. Bastard, let me have a taste of your strength." Wei did not believe that he was the disciple of a supreme expert. "Bring it on, I'll destroy you." Su Yan's hair danced in the wind. Terrifying essence blood flowed out from his body. His clothes were blasted apart, revealing his robust body. Moreover, there was an indistinct taboo aura spreading in his body. It was as if it wanted to destroy this starry sky. Meng Ying and the others were emitting cold air. This was the aura of the dragon totem secretly circulating. Without a powerful killing weapon protecting him, Su Yin would not act rashly. Even Wei was shocked. Su Yin had taken out the dragon totem and was targeting him. He felt as though he was being targeted by a huge dragon. "Junior brother." Miser Rooster put his wings behind his back and scolded unhappily. "What's wrong with you? You told him to bring it on, but the timing is not right. Anyway, you have a lot of treasures on you. Don't be stingy. If you don't have enough, I'll give you another basket." F***CK. Wei was about to vomit blood. If he was really the disciple of a supreme expert, he might really die. Chapter 372. Luan screamed in pain and rolled on the ground like a ghost. He was in so much pain that it felt like there was a fire burning in his body that was going to burn him to ashes. This scene horrified the surrounding cultivators. What kind of fist technique is this? Luan couldn't even withstand it, and seemed like he was going to be refined to death. Xia Kunlun had only thrown a punch, and Luan couldn't take it. Su Yin secretly used the solar fist. This fist technique was used together with his battle constitution, and its combat power was close to the heavenly secret technique. Anyone who was hit by it would be severely injured. "You're so ruthless." Wei's face turned pale when he realized that the essence blood in Luan's body had evaporated. This was equivalent to crippling Luan. "Junior brother, did you see that?" Miserly Rooster lectured here. "Although you've been trapped by Master all day to train, you still can't control your power freely. Remember to be careful when you fight your enemy. Kill him with 1 punch." Kunlun couldn't take it anymore and spat out a mouthful of blood. Meng Ying was in awe. He had thought that Su Yin was a flower in a greenhouse, but now it seemed that it was different. After all, he was the disciple of a mighty figure and would naturally experience many setbacks and dangers. She thought that Xia Kunlun's combat power must be extremely strong. When he fought with Luan just now, Xia Kunlun obviously didn't use his full strength. Xia Kunlun is really strong, as expected of a mighty figure's disciple. I wonder if he can fight with the young overlords of the major star zones. Is there need to ask? How can a mighty figure's disciple be an ordinary person? Didn't you see that he's full of confidence? He's not even afraid of the overlords of the universe. This means that he has a powerful weapon and is highly regarded by the mighty figure. The surrounding people discussed. No matter what, this was Jia of the Umbra lineage. How could he kill him with 1 punch? His battle prowess was truly shocking. "I say, are you going to do it or not?" Su Yin waved his hand impatiently and said, "You're wasting my time. Don't you know that I have something important to do?" "Damn, you want me to fight with a mighty figure's disciple who has a basket of treasures?" Wei suppressed the anger in his heart and shouted, "Xia Kunlun, right? There will be a young overlord of the Umbra lineage to deal with you. Just wait here and someone will come for you." What a waste of time. Su Yin turned his head and strode forward into the stone pagoda. This scene shook the minds of the surrounding people. They felt that with Xia Kunlun's combat strength, he might really be able to obtain the stone pagoda's imprint. If that were to happen, it would be a major event that would shake the universe. When the time came, the young Jia from the various major factions would probably rush over to befriend him. "Let's go. We're also going to cultivate in the stone pagoda." The surrounding onlookers quickly rushed in. The stone tower could only accommodate a limited number of people. At most, it could accommodate 20 to 30 people. "Wait, The miser arrogantly flew over and stopped them. He flapped his wings and pointed at them. "Wait here. My junior brother is cultivating a secret art. Outsiders are not allowed to watch." Meng Ying and the others were bewildered. Xia Kunlun had mastered the secret techniques of the heavens? These young cultivators were angry, but didn't dare to say anything. Who didn't know how strong Xia Kunlun was? They didn't want to end up like Yinluan, crippled by a single punch. "I'll give you some compensation." The miser was very generous. He threw out one jar after another. Dozens of jars landed in their hands. Some people were surprised. There was even a reward. When a young woman opened the jar, an exuberant source of life immediately gushed out. It contained the aura of the universe's origin. It was as if a concentrated river of stars flowed out, brilliant and dazzling. The surrounding people were greatly shaken. What was this thing? How could it contain such exuberant life essence? "Many thanks, sir." Dozens of cultivators excitedly expressed their thanks. This item was very precious and even had a kind of grand aura. Although it was very thin, this item was very valuable. "Great Tao Dragon Vein." Meng Ying was shocked. Normally, this kind of dragon vein was too rare. They were all in the hands of peak powers or savage families. Their crepe myrtle sect only had one. Under normal circumstances, Meng Ying would find it difficult to enter and cultivate. However, Su Yin was stingy. He had casually given them a batch of Great Tao Dragon Vein essence. His casual manner made Meng Ying and the others believe in Su Yan's identity even more. Maybe this almighty had monopolized a Great Tao Dragon Vein. After all, this was the energy of the Big Dipper ancestral vein. The miser still had a lot of it on him. "Haha, brother, how much is this item? We are willing to buy it." A group of old men surrounded him. It was as if they had eaten an aphrodisiac. Their eyes were red. Who didn't want the ancestral vein essence? Normally, it was hard to come by. For some moderate powers, this kind of resource was very much needed. The miser arrogantly raised his head. He didn't look like a chicken, but like an incredible divine king. He said disdainfully, "Do I look like I lack treasures? What kind of treasures have I not seen? I have even eaten divine medicine." These old men were embarrassed. The miser took the opportunity to communicate with them and understand the matters of this universe. Most importantly, he was very concerned about the divine spiritual mountain range. If Shuiguan really obtained the inheritance in the divine spiritual mountain range, this peerless treasure land might very well open. What shocking gravity! The space inside the stone pagoda wasn't big. It was filled with the aura of time. Just as he arrived here, Su Yin felt a shocking power emanating from the stone pagoda. It was like a mountain pressing down on Su Yan's head. Su Yin felt that it was difficult to stretch his limbs now. His speed had decreased a little. This made Su Yin recall the encounter when he first came to Alcade Planet. That was an unforgettable period of his life. Now, he was facing the same pressure. It came from a stone pagoda. Where is the inheritance in this stone pagoda? Su Yin patrolled the interior of the stone pagoda and observed the stone walls. This stone pagoda might look like a pagoda from the outside, but there was only one space inside. It was like a space within a stone. Su Yin looked for a long time, but couldn't figure out anything. The longer he stayed in here, the greater the pressure. The interior of the stone pagoda was like an independent space. It tilted down the pressure and gradually suppressed Su Yan's corporeal body. Blood essence seeped out from his body. He was like a golden god as he sat cross-legged in the stone pagoda. Su Yin felt the unique pressure that came from the stone pagoda. It was very special. It drilled into Su Yan's limbs and bones, exerting a tyrannical pressure on his bones, organs, and even his blood. This place is suitable for refining the body. Su Yin was delighted. He borrowed the mysterious pressure of the stone pagoda to refine his blood essence and temper his organs. He didn't know how much time had passed. The pressure increased as he stayed. It was like a gravity chamber. Slowly, he found it difficult to breathe. It was as if he couldn't exhale. It was very uncomfortable. Sweat poured out from his pores, dripping down. He felt as if he was soaking in hot water. The pressure increased. Su Yin found it difficult to endure. This was a test of his will and spirit. Every breath that passed felt extremely long. The entire stone pagoda was very quiet. Su Yin could even hear his own heartbeat. Time slowly flew by. The pressure was terrifying. It was like a giant beast in the sky that wanted to swallow him whole. Su Yan's body flushed red, like a cooked lobster with blood vessels. He didn't know how many times the pressure had increased. In short, it was like he was experiencing the process of a human body being destroyed. It's already been 3 days. Outside the stone pagoda, some overlords were secretly shocked. Normally, if one could endure for 3 days, their attainments in the corporeal body were extremely shocking. I think Xia Kunlun should be able to stay in there for 5 or 6 days. Someone said 3 days was a long time for Su Yin. When the 4th day arrived, the pressure increased once more. The stone pagoda seemed to shrink, squeezing Su Yin. It was like a mountain was crashing down on Su Yan's body. It bombarded his bones, organs, flesh, and blood. It's a bit uncomfortable. Su Yan's chest heaved up and down. Blood seeped out from the corners of his mouth. Even someone as strong as his treasure body was injured. From this, one could see how difficult it was to endure in the stone pagoda. He didn't know how much time had passed. Su Yin could faintly hear that the stone pagoda was like a space of gods and devils. The pressure suddenly increased by a large margin. It was as if a group of gods and devils were rushing towards him. Su Yan's body trembled. He felt as if his body and soul would be destroyed in a single exchange. However, his forehead shined brightly. His primordial spirit felt a strength. He discovered that the stone pagoda seemed to have become 1,000 times grander. It was like a super Tao field that lay above his head, wanting to crush him to pieces. Su Yin was moved and pleasantly surprised. He felt a different kind of inheritance. This wasn't a martial art, but a cultivation path. To be precise, it was the path of a body cultivator. Su Yin even found that this path was similar to the initial scripture. This made Su Yin sigh. The mother scripture was miraculous. It contained all orthodoxies. It was like the general outline of the cultivation world's heavenly arts. He tried to feel this majestic strength. He felt as if he could grasp it. His body would possess the strength of a quasi-Tao realm. However, the waves of world-shaking strength made it difficult for Su Yin to bear. He felt as if he was being torn apart by 5 horses, cut into pieces, stabbed by 10,000 swords, and smashed by stars. Su Yin was in extreme pain. He felt as if he could rush out and see the vast sea and sky. Hold on. Su Yin clenched his teeth. This was a great opportunity. He had to hold on. Only then could he gain something. Pooh! Su Yin coughed out a large mouthful of blood. Even his powerful body cracked. At this moment, he was like a mountain torrent. The terrifying destructive strength was enough to destroy Su Yan's precious body and shatter the foundation of his body. Kacha! Su Yan's body was torn apart. It was as if he was about to shatter and fall here. However, under the mysterious pressure of the stone pagoda, Su Yan's cracked body began to glow. His treasure body began to emit a multicolored divine light. It was like the world's greatest tonic, but it was also like the human body's greatest medicine. Su Yin was speechless. He discovered that this wasn't his body's great medicine, but the remnants of various precious medicines hidden within his body. Chapter 373. Su Yin was startled. He didn't think that there would be medicinal residues hidden in his body. It seems that the treasures I used in the past haven't been cleanly refined. Some of the medicinal strength is still dormant in my body, and I fear that it will form toxins over time. Su Yin thought to himself, this was very dangerous. It was very likely that it would threaten his life. I came from an unorthodox background and have never been guided by the powerhouse system before. If this continues, the troubles in the future won't be small. Luckily, I encountered this stone pagoda, and the pressure forced out the medicinal residues in my body. Su Yin rejoiced and was also horrified. He could feel the exuberant degree of the medicinal residues in his body. It was the combination of the essence of various treasures. Su Yin carefully sensed and was left speechless. This was because there was an extremely large amount of medicinal residues. It was the same as a furnace of world-shaking medicine that could be used to cultivate. If I discover it ahead of time, I can force it out and refine it clean. Su Yin closed his eyes and visualized the secret technique recorded in the mysterious bone book. He began to use this mystical secret technique to stir up the medicinal residues. 1. Clouds immediately rose from his broken body, and auspicious light shot out in all directions. Su Yin's body began to shine. The medicinal residues began to burn, turning into the purest medicinal strength in the human body. It began to flow through Su Yan's limbs and bones, nourishing his wounded body. After all, these were the remnants of treasures from the past. It was relatively easy for Su Yin to move them around. Now that he was using the secret technique of the mysterious bone book to recuperate his body, he discovered that his recovery speed was extremely astonishing. Even when his body healed, Su Yin was shocked to discover that after suffering day and night, the strength of his body had increased. It was tougher than before, like a piece of divine iron that had been tempered thousands of times. This is truly a peerless cultivation ground. Su Yin laughed. The early stages of suffering were truly unbearable, but now that the bitterness was over, all of the suffering was worth it. As long as he could persist, he could still climb up another level. At the same time, Su Yin sealed away the remaining medicinal residues and continued to sit in the stone pagoda, silently cultivating. It's been 6 days. The outside world was in an uproar. Xia Kunlun had endured for 6 whole days and had yet to come out of seclusion. How many days do we need to persevere before we can obtain the stone pagoda imprint? Someone asked curiously. Hard to say. An old expert answered. The stone pagoda is very special. If someone stays in there for a day, it's very likely that they will be able to obtain the stone pagoda's imprint. Some people can stay in there for 5 or 6 days and still not obtain the imprint. As for the specific conditions, I'm not sure either. In the vast universe, people discovered a total of 108 stone pagodas. Every single stone pagoda was special, and even the trials were different. There were some who speculated that the final destination of the stone pagoda was an extremely terrifying inheritance. Once it was dug out, it would definitely shake the world. But after so many years, no one had been able to uncover all the secrets of the stone tower. There had once been peak powers that had attempted to take away the stone tower. Perhaps they would be able to uncover the secrets, but without exception, they had all failed. Over time, the stone pagoda became a land of inheritance and eternal mystery. That brat survived. Meng Ying's expression was uncertain. This was because she had received news that Su Yin had crawled out of the Devil Fog Forbidden Zone alive. Some time ago, the Ancestral Hall had caused a huge commotion by attacking the Big Dipper Star region. All the major powers in the universe had been paying attention to this. Now, news after news had spread out, shaking all the major clans and spreading throughout the universe. 5 great Tao realm cultivators from the Ancestral Hall have died in the hands of a young man called Su Yin. Who is Su Yin? This name sounds familiar. I remember now. It's Shui Guan, who has recently risen in the universe and obtained the stone pagoda's imprint. His father was killed by Su Yin. Su Yin even joined forces with the Big Dipper Star region's sovereign physique and almost killed Shui Guan. A young overlord who was forced into the Devil Fog Forbidden Zone has come out alive. Heavens, that's the Devil Fog Forbidden Zone. It's a life-forbidden zone that even major figures would feel like they had encountered a snake or scorpion. Unbelievable. What is the background of this Su Yin? Where is he now? What enmity does he have with the Ancestral Hall? Has he not been captured yet? This matter was too big. 5 great Tao realm experts had been killed, and the Ancestral Hall had suffered heavy losses. Thousands of elite soldiers had been killed by a mysterious major figure with a single slap. A few experts had also died, and a total of 6 battleships had been destroyed. The Big Dipper Star region's influence shook the vast universe. Su Yan's name had spread throughout the various star regions. This was a huge matter. After all, it was related to a rising star, and a young Overlord at that. In the current universe's environment, in the era where the younger generation was rising to prominence, any star region's Overlord with great potential would attract attention. Boom! In the Z-Way star region, in a certain ancient mountain range in the distant eastern region, a figure soared up. The dragon and phoenix soared into the sky together with him, laying across the sky, terrifying the world. He let out a loud roar toward the sky, and the mountain range collapsed. Rubble flew into the sky, accompanied by a sea of divine light that charged into the sky. Everything within a radius of 10,000 miles was shaking. Everything was about to prostrate under his feet. The dragon and phoenix surrounded and protected Shueguan, making him look like a supreme being of a generation, looking down on the world, peerlessly terrifying. Suyin is actually still alive. I'm going to use his head to build my path to Tao. Shueguan said coldly. I've been looking forward to our meeting for a long time. This was another ancient country, a territory that stretched for millions and millions of miles. Auspicious clouds rose, and divine mists overflowed. The atmosphere here was sacred and terrifying, like the training grounds of ancient gods. Primordial mutated beasts could be seen everywhere, and rare ancient medicines grew healthily. Even sacred medicines that were rarely seen in the outside world had taken root here, emitting the atmosphere of the great Tao. There were even stalks after stalks, hazy with chaotic aura, as if they were world-shaking secret medicines that could split the world apart. These were divine medicines, extremely precious. However, there were a few of them here. Boom! Millions and millions of miles of territory trembled. Above the sky dome, a blurry human face could be seen. As it devoured, the laws of heaven and earth interweaved, releasing the aura of a world. If there were people outside who passed by, they would definitely bow down and worship. It was because when one person awakened, an entire star domain would release terrifying fluctuations. The entire star domain would tremble, so one could imagine how terrifying this was. Ancient ancestor, Zhu Yang and the others knelt on the ground, not daring to breathe loudly. Ancestral Hall's ancient ancestors were furious. They viewed Burial Region's bloodline as prey, yet they actually jumped levels and killed their experts. Even though this bit of loss wasn't much for Ancestral Hall, the key was that Burial Region's bloodline's rising star made Ancestral Hall lose a great deal of face. The losses were also disastrous, to the extent where the mission was about to fail. Investigate. Ancestral Hall's ancient ancestor issued a decree, making Zhu Yang and the others feel that the fish that escaped the net back then was extremely special, making the ancient ancestor pay close attention to it. If they failed again, it really wouldn't be easy to explain. I can't swallow this anger. After Zhu Yang left, he said angrily, "A little bastard made me suffer disastrous losses. If I don't kill him, where will my Ancestral Hall's dignity go?" Rumble. At a certain peak, the light of the great Tao surged, piercing through the clouds and rushing into the sky. It was a black-clothed figure, like an ancient god, filled with a terrifying aura. With a raise of his hand, the world rumbled, the sun and moon trembled. His eyes suddenly opened, like a pitch-black whirlpool that wanted to devour this world. Zhu Tian. Zhu Yang's expression eased a lot, and then he said, "The Chaos Ruins are about to open, and the battle for supremacy is about to begin. You are the strongest of my Ancestral Hall's younger generation. A little bastard isn't worth your time." The great figures of Ancestral Hall all looked over, paying attention to Zhu Tian. In Ancestral Hall, only the strongest of the younger generation had the qualifications to be crowned with the title of Zhu Tian. Their Ancestral Hall's ancient ancestor was Zhu Tian tens of thousands of years ago. He was an invincible existence who had once slaughtered his way through the universe, the younger generation's corpses lying in the starry sky. They hoped that Zhu Tian would be the next Ancestral Hall's ancient ancestor. In the future, he would be able to suppress the world, look down on everything, and reign supreme. Report. An ancestral hall's cavalry team rushed over and said excitedly, "Lord Zhu Liang, the blood formation platform you refined has sensed something. Finally, there's movement." Zhu Liang looked up to the sky and laughed. "It seems like we found the right person. The one the ancient ancestor is looking for should be Su Yin without a doubt. Now, follow me and see if we can catch a big fish. It's best if we can find a nest and kill to our heart's content." The ancestral hall had chased after the burial region's bloodline for countless years, and they had long since researched a method to find the bloodline's combat weapons. However, in the past 100 years, the burial region's old experts seemed to have vanished from the world. They suspected that these people had sealed everything, and thus, the blood formation platform couldn't sense any traces of them. Now that the blood formation platform had sensed something, it was certain that the old experts of the burial region couldn't wait any longer and might have received news about Su Yin. The dark underworld bloodline had also received news, but they didn't know that Hall Daozu's ancient ancestor was thinking about Su Yin. A minor character from the burial region wasn't worthy of the dark underworld bloodline's attention. Interesting. The burial region's bloodline was once prosperous. Their bloodline contains the bloodline of a glorious era's expert. Inside an ancient cave, a world-shaking aura pervaded the air. Inside sat a figure that was resplendent with golden splendor. When he breathed, the surroundings rumbled, heaven and earth trembled. His flesh was like an undying divine furnace that was burning. "Big brother, avenge me. He's just the disciple of a supreme existence. My clan isn't afraid of supreme existences." Yinluan's face was full of humiliation. He had already recovered, but it was difficult for him to swallow this resentment. Yinxian's body was pure gold. He had already cultivated the Vajra indestructible body, and his entire body emitted terrifying fluctuations. Yinluan's breathing became labored, and he was about to kneel on the ground. In front of his big brother, Yinluan's cultivation was nothing. He could suppress him with a raise of his hand. An inheritance is an inheritance. Cultivation depends on the individual. Yinxian coldly said, "I'm interested in this Su Yin. After all, he has the burial region's strongest treasure blood. I must kill this person. Pass down the order to find him. Even if you have to dig 3 feet into the ground, you must find him." "Yes." Yinxian's subordinates hurriedly left. They were well aware of Yinxian's hatred towards the burial region's bloodline. He had swallowed his father's broken blood and bones and cultivated with hatred. Every once in a while, he would go out in search of prey, bathing in the blood of the burial region's bloodline as he grew. "Big brother." Yinluan could not swallow this resentment. Even the clan warned him not to provoke this unknown Xia Kunlun. Enough. Yinxian's terrifying aura overflowed in all directions. His body rumbled like a tsunami. It was hard to imagine how strong his body was. His exuberant blood essence could drown out the world. "Yin-yi." As soon as Yinxian spoke, Yinluan trembled. He felt his mouth and tongue go dry, as if it was about to explode. Strand after strand of terrifying fluctuations swept over. Scarlet red overflowed into the heavens. It was as if a great calamity had occurred in the world. That was an exceptionally terrifying and indistinct figure. The world changed color, and everything within several thousand li was covered in scarlet red. "Hamba." Yinluan was pleasantly surprised. This was Yinxian's strongest battle general. "Go, hold the battle sword, and kill Xia Kunlun," Yinxian coldly said. "Even if he is the disciple of a supreme expert, if he dies in the hands of a battle general under me, I'm afraid that supreme expert won't be so thick-skinned as to come to my dark underworld bloodline for an explanation. Big brother is wise." Chapter 374. 8 days and 8 nights have passed. If it wasn't for Xia Kunlun, I would have suspected that he had perished in there. Xia Kunlun is the disciple of a supreme being. How strong is he? It's impossible to endure for 8 days and 8 nights without a peerless foundation. There were already many cultivators watching the stone tower. The identity of a supreme being's disciple was enough to attract attention. Xiao Kunlun had even stayed in the stone tower for 8 days and 8 nights. If such a battle record spread, it would be enough to shock the surrounding 100-star domains. Some universe masters who came to understand the situation were absent-minded. 8 days and 8 nights had passed. Who knew what he had experienced? The longer he stayed in the stone tower, the more severe the strangulation. However, Xiao Kunlun had stayed in there for 8 days and 8 nights. In the stone tower, Su Yin was being tortured to the point of shattering. These 2 days were very difficult. His physical body had been shattered many times, and the dregs of the great medicine in his body had all been used up. As a result, Su Yan's physical body had been tempered thousands of times, and its might was fierce and tyrannical. However, on this brand new day, the pressure suddenly surged. Su Yin was unable to withstand it, but he was unwilling to give up on this opportunity. This was because as the pressure of the stone pagoda increased, his understanding of the path of body cultivation deepened. Su Yin transformed into cruelty, awakening again and again in pain. Fortunately, he had mastered the secret technique of the mysterious bone book, which allowed Su Yin to crawl back from the brink of death again and again. The more he fought, the fiercer he became. He had to use a part of the Divine King's blood. This blood was extremely difficult to refine, but a part of it was digested. The vigorous divine blood contained a terrifying power of human body medicine. It nourished Su Yan's battle body and allowed him to heal rapidly. During the process, the great Tao heavenly furnace appeared, and Su Yan's battle body soared. His treasured body was like an immortal furnace burning. The dragon-shaped blood essence circulated around his body, and it could easily produce a terrifying destructive power. Without a doubt, Su Yan's physical body had crossed a level and cultivated to the peak of the transcendence realm. This time, he continuously shattered and reformed in the stone tower. His entire body seemed to have been reborn, but now, he was in a terrible predicament. The 9th day had arrived. The heavy aura of the stone tower sank and struck down. It was as if stars were smashing down one after another. Su Yan's peerless treasure body could not bear it. He coughed blood, and his organs were rupturing. His bones were humming, and his entire body was about to shatter. I can't take it. Su Yan's hair was disheveled as a terrifying light flashed in his eyes. He felt that if he continued to endure, he would die. After all, there was always a limit. It was impossible for Su Yin to get up again and again to become stronger. Now he realized that the test had reached the limit of what a human body could endure. If he did not retreat, he was afraid that he would be trapped and killed in the stone tower. To the end, I need to walk this path. If I don't comprehend the Tao, I will forever be an ant. But Su Yin did not give up so easily. He could still hold on for a while. Moreover, Su Yin was very clear that he had reached the limit of his growth. It would be difficult for him to improve. Then, the next path was to comprehend the Tao. This path was too difficult. It was thousands of times more difficult than stepping into the path of cultivation. In the vast world of cultivation, only one quasi-Tao realm cultivator among 100,000 transcendence realm cultivators could walk out. From this, one could see how low the probability was. Only by comprehending the Tao could one break through all the shackles and climb to a terrifying realm. Some people even called great Tao realm cultivators saints. On the 9th day, the source of power evolved from the stone tower was completely different. It was like a dormant giant beast that surged with destructive power. The source of power was gushing out like the spring of the sea, growing and multiplying endlessly. Its power was inexhaustible. It was like a giant beast with its head held high in the heavens, growing rapidly. It was boundless and like an invincible overlord of the world. It was going to push open the starry sky and crush the heavens. Su Yan's body and mind were about to be destroyed. It was as if the heavens were sinking and trying to kill Su Yan. Under the form of the great Tao heavenly furnace, Su Yan's bones were about to be crushed. The universe in his body was about to collapse. My body is like the universe. If he can become stronger, I can also become stronger. From the beginning of all things, I am a universe. Su Yin suddenly stopped resisting. He stopped, and the pain on his face dissipated. His aura was calm and peaceful, as if he did not exist in this world. From his broken limbs and bones, the sound of scriptures was transmitted. But this time, the sound of scriptures was like a golden bell, like the divine sound of the great Tao, like a celestial sound that shook the universe. Wang, his body flourished, and divine light shone resplendently. Primitive power surged out, lingering around Su Yan's body. His entire body recovered to the strongest realm. Divine aura filled the sky. They were boiling and erupting. This was Su Yan's strongest power. It had awakened in his body, and it was as if it was about to explode. One could easily die. Who would dare to try and detonate all the divine power in their body? But Su Yan's explosion, this time, was like the destruction of a universe, like the creation of heaven and earth. Rumble, a terrifying aura awakened in his body, like a primordial true dragon reviving. It climbed along his spine and finally penetrated his head, causing the top of his head to release a power that soared into the sky. This was a kind of energy that was on par with the great Tao. It originated from the divine power of the origin in the human body, the primitive power. Su Yin dug out this kind of energy and transformed it, but it also caused Su Yan's entire treasure body to burn. It was as if countless hidden spaces had been opened, and shocking divine power leaked out. It was blazing and terrifying. Swoosh! Su Yan's body suddenly enlarged countless times. It was as if a giant was born here. A smile appeared on Su Yan's face. His gains from this battle were too great. He now had the strength to sever the shackles, and it was also fortunate that he had comprehended some of the profound truths of space. This allowed Su Yan's comprehension of space to reach a higher level within the Lamita realm. The stone pagoda's pressure no longer existed for Su Yan. This was because he had passed and completed the most difficult test. Su Yan felt that an even stronger potential had been born in his physical body. However, this also caused the terrifying scars that were hidden in his body to appear on the surface of his body. They were like numerous ferocious sword scars. Su Yan fiercely coughed up blood. His aura had weakened to the extreme, and it seemed as if he would be refined to death. It was as if the great Tao wanted to sever Su Yan. Something's wrong. All the hairs on Su Yan's body stood on end. He instantly woke up and quickly took out the Divine King's precious blood to devour and refine it. The moment Su Yan refined it, a destructive light emerged from his body. It was enough to refine all things in the world. Terrifying scars appeared one after another. They were like laws as they swam within Su Yan's body. Kacha! His body split apart as if it had been smashed to pieces. Blood flowed from his body, and he was in incomparable pain. Is this who I really am? Although I've endured it, the injuries caused by the heavenly refining furnace still exist. But the heavenly refining furnace couldn't refine me to death back then, and now it wants to refine me to death. Su Yan angrily shouted. He used the Divine King's precious blood to stimulate the power of the mysterious bone book. This was a strand of energy that could bring the dead back to life. It began to circulate within his body, repairing the damage caused by the heavenly refining furnace's laws. Su Yan was also greatly alarmed. This heavenly refining furnace was too astonishing. Its injuries had actually been dormant for so long before it recovered. This was an injury he had suffered when he was young. Even now, it still had the power to kill. It wanted to eliminate Su Yan and refine him into a pile of ashes. The main reason was because his physical body had reached a whole new level and unexpectedly brought out the hidden injuries of the past. After all, this was the heavenly refining furnace. It was rumored that it could refine an entire universe's starry skies. Over 100 years had passed, but it was still terrifying. However, Su Yan wouldn't be so easily refined by it. He used the mysterious bone book and the Divine King's precious blood to nourish his body scars. During the process, the consumption of the Divine King's precious blood was enormous. Su Yan's flesh was pained, but he couldn't care about it now. The mysterious bone book's secret technique was very miraculous. It could repair Su Yan's injuries. During the repair process, Su Yan was shocked to discover a serious problem. The heavenly refining furnace's injuries could be repaired with the power of the mysterious bone book, but it was very difficult. The Divine King's precious blood was actually insufficient and couldn't be completely healed. However, during the repair process, Su Yan discovered that the potential in his body had become even stronger. Even the essence blood in his body had become exuberant and abundant. This made him both surprised and delighted. He was delighted because as long as the heavenly refining furnace's scars could be repaired, Su Yan would definitely be able to reach a higher level. However, if he wanted to find something more valuable than the Divine King's precious blood, would he need a sacred medicine? Su Yan spent an entire day and thoroughly exhausted the Divine King's precious blood. His fighting strength in the Transcendence realm increased by another level. The essence blood in his body was so vigorous that it rushed into the starry skies. I can't rush into the Quasi-Dao realm right now. I feel that I still have a trace of hope. Su Yan thought to himself, even if it's just a trace, I still have to wait. I must repair my injuries. Moreover, I just came into contact with the great Tao and became stronger. Su Yan clenched his fists. He discovered that his body was somewhat weak. This was a loss. The heavenly refining furnace had left scars on his body. It was very difficult to make up for the life source he had lost in his childhood. Thinking of this, Su Yan fell silent. His childhood friends who had left with him had all been injured by the heavenly refining furnace. Some of them hadn't been able to endure and had perished along the way. Su Yan took a deep breath, suppressing the surging emotions in his heart. After a long time, he stood up and thought to himself, is the flaw in my constitution because I slept for half a year? Did something happen when I was born? Su Dalong didn't tell him about this. He slept for half a year before opening his eyes. Xia Yang and the others all called Su Yan Little Muddlehead. Right now, I should solve the problem of the heavenly refining furnace first. I should be able to find it in the Z-Way segmentum. I have a lot of good things on me. Su Yan's eyes scanned the stone pagoda. He discovered that there was a mark floating in the middle of the stone pagoda. This mark was somewhat special. It was like an ancient mark surrounded by chaotic light. Su Yan walked over and grabbed the stone pagoda mark with his palm. As soon as he touched it, the imprint automatically glowed and rippled with terrifying energy. It was a very terrifying scene. Su Yan seemed to have seen a supreme treasure that had sunk into the eye of the primal chaos sea. It looked very blurry, but it was also very terrifying. From the chaos into the chaos,